It's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the Bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Live at the Bike, brought to you by the Bicycle Casino in Los Angeles, California, the first and only webcast of real action cash game poker. My name's Bart Hansen, and I'm here with Dave Tuckman, sporting the tie. Is that a hockey tie, Dave?
That is a hockey tie.
You're also eating, huh, too?
I'm hungry.
Well, tonight's Tuesday, and we're going to be doing... you're also out of the picture, too.
Oh, God. nag.
It's going to be 300 to 500 no-limit hold'em. Like we usually do on Tuesdays. And there's actually some new players in the game.
Yeah, the game. And so, Gus has informed me that he's going to play wild and crazy tonight.
Okay.
So,
well, without further ado, let's get to it.
Well,
let's see those players.
Yeah, in seat one, we've got, looks like, I want to say his name is Heman Rodriguez. And he's got about, I want to say, about $375 in chips. Seat two, we got a familiar face, Alan Lai. And Alan's a little short there, only about $300-400. Seat three, we've got Gus, and he's promised me he's going to really mix it up tonight, like crazy. Seat four, we've got Ross Tessanorio, and he's got some chips there, huh?
Yeah, he does.
Probably close to about $600. Seat five, we've got Gary Rowe, sporting the SC. Wow, look at that SC garb. He's like a walking billboard. Seat six, we've got Carlos. And Carlos looks pretty short chip there. Seat 7, we've got Michael. And he's also short chip. Seat 8, we've got Jim McLean. Sporting the glasses there. And seat 9, George Mosher. And he's got some purple chips in that one.
3 or 4 people who've never had on the show before?
Yeah, some exciting new places, new faces.
Well, we're going to get into the first hand of the night. And... doesn't look like we're going to get the cards up here right now, but if we can see the board here, it's King, 7, 3, 4, all spades.
All spades. And that's interesting. Seat 5 actually flopped the flush.
Yep. There it is, seat 5.
Yeah, seat 5's flopped the flush. And seat 8 has 8-5, has the 5 of spades. So he's got a gut shot straight flush draw if the 6 of spades were to hit.
I think he's check-raised here on the turn, Dave. He's check-raised the turn.
Wow.
Again, Jack 8 of spades against 8-5, and all the guy has is a jack-high flush here in seat 5.
Well, it's a great flop for him, but now the 4th spade comes out there, and you're almost going, man. I mean, he's got I want to say that the third nut, obviously, can't beat an ace.
And there he goes. He lays it down. There it is.
And it's a good laydown. I mean, what are you going to do there?
Oh, the 8 of spades. As he did have the best hand.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he could call, but I'm saying, I mean, how do you know you're good? I mean, rarely can somebody raise you without the nuts.
Right.
Nice read by seat 8. Jim McClan there.
Quite the move there by seat 8.
Jim McClan.
So if you want to follow a live thread that started on the internet, you can go to 2plus2.com, spelled out. Click on forums, World Poker Tour, and other televised tournaments. You can also get to that thread by going to our website, www.liveatthebike.com. And you can also email us at live@thebike.com.
Yeah.
So we're working off of 2 sites, thebike.com and live@thebike.com, spelled out. Button's going to move over here to seat 7. And there was a couple of interesting comments that were made this morning, piggybacked on the end of last night's thread, Dave, that I was going to read. So we'll get a second here.
Well, it's interesting now that we have our show is looped around for the next day.
We will commonly get comments after the fact because people are watching it.
Who aren't watching it live.
Right.
Obviously, we try to keep the show as interactive as possible.
Gus is going to bring this one in here in C3. He's one of our regulars. 25. He's usually pretty tight. He's going to bring this one in with ace rag offsuit. Carlos is going to call here king 10 offsuit. Seat 6. And Jim is in there. Well, this night is already, Dave, from these 2 hands. I'm looking forward to this night more than our usual Tuesdays because it looks like we got some loose players.
This game, I mean, a 3 to 5 game can play really, really. It can be a gamble. It can be really exciting if the right faces are there.
Queen 8-9. Well, a couple of people have straight draws here.
Yeah, Jim's open-ended.
And Carlos has a gut shot. No one has a pair yet. And Jim's going to come out and bet. He's going to butt right into the gut shot here.
I think he might take this down right here.
Let's see what Gus is going to do. Gus really doesn't have much here. He's got ace high. He's going to let it go. Now, Carlos has an overcard and a gut shot. He doesn't look like he has much left here. It's a $40 bet into a pot that's $75, so it's a $115 pot, 40 to call. And he's going to make the call, and the pot's going to get up to about 150 here as we go to the turn. And Carlos's king high is still good right now. Turns a 7. Well, now Jim makes a pair, and he's open-ended. But now Carlos is open-ended.
Yeah. And if the jack were to hit, obviously Carlos would have the higher straight.
He'd have the really good straight.
Yeah.
Seed 8's going to bet 100 now. $250 on the pot.
I mean, can Carlos call all in here?
Well, Carlos only has 200 left. What, is he just going to call the 100 and then fold if he misses here, Dave, on the turn on the river? I mean, it looks like.
Well, moving in is not really an option, is it? If you move in, you know you're going to get called. There's no fold equity there.
Yeah, put yourself in a kind of a tough spot here.
Yeah.
And he's going to fold.
By just calling the flop, you put yourself in a tough spot.
And Jim.
Because you don't have enough money to get the guy off the hand.
That's right. Jim's going to take it down. So anyways, getting back to this comment here, Dave, from last night. I'm going to read it. This is from a gentleman called My Mind is Going. Puts a post out this morning. The rudeness of those two jerks that are bullshitting everyone all the time hardly makes it more worth watching anymore. Like when they told about somebody coming home from England saying that, you know, those people over there are ugly. Even if someone told you that, is it worth mentioning on the poker broadcast? Or when they say somebody reminded them of the Sabotage video by Beastie Boys. You people have low self-esteem. What's your problem? The attitude you show is exactly why Americans aren't very liked around the world.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, I didn't know that your mother-in-law joined 2+2.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that. She watched the show this morning. She was offended. Called me up. Yelled
Dave's
at me.
wife's family is English, and I guess we were kind of poking fun at the English.
Yeah.
Hey, bring it on. My mind is going.
As far as I'm concerned, as long as we're doing this show, Bart, we're going to keep this show politically incorrect. As far as I'm concerned, you know, the whole world, we are far too sensitive, okay? And people have to understand that these are jokes.
Right.
You know, we're not attacking anybody personally.
And I don't think that we ever get personal with any of the players. I really don't.
I mean, I happen to have very low self-esteem.
Wow.
And maybe that's why I do attack people.
Seed 8's got ace-king, and he's going to raise here.
Yeah, in fact, actually, our assistant Donna's son is English, and he's very ugly.
So he raised it up here to 25, I believe, and he's going to take it down here without a flop. So we're not going to see any action there. Those are the hands. John McClain in seed 8. And we're going to move over to the next hand. Button's going to move over there to seat 1.
He's not even used it once. He's used it about 300 times.
I have to give a shout out, Dave, to a gentleman that's starting, kind of his first day. You've seen him out on the floor helping us out there, but he's actually working the cards tonight. It's his first night. He's had a lot of practice, and we're looking forward to it tonight.
Who's this?
This is Ronnie.
Oh, Ronnie.
And our beautiful producer, Evelyn, is actually producing tonight, as opposed to inputting the cards.
Yes.
So there you go.
Ronnie seems he seems like a part of the family for such a long time. You almost forget it's his first day.
First day doing this job.
Yeah.
Kind of a jack of all trades. Four-way action here. It was limped around, which means it's a $20 pot. We're playing 5 and 5 blinds, Dave. The yellow chips are $5 chips. And the blue chips are $1 chips. So the blinds are 5 and 5. Flop comes out 9-4-4. And seat 1 is going to bet. And I believe, actually, let's see here. We had a bet by Hemmon on the button. And look at Allen. We didn't have his cards up there. He check-raised. So we don't really know what he had over there.
I can only bet he had at least a 9.
Probably a better 9 than Hemmon there.
Yeah.
Is it Hemmon or He-Man?
I believe it's He-Man Rodriguez.
Okay.
No, next week it's starting.
And the button moves over here to seat 2. Oh, it is He-Man, kind of like the cartoon character. He-Man and Skeletor, Dave? Do you remember?
I do. Very well.
Yeah,
Very well. I still have the dolls.
back in the day with Transformers and GoBots as well.
I play with them regularly.
Seat 7 there, that's Michael. That's SP Surfing Michael from 2+2. He raised here, King, Queen, offsuit to 20. Looks like he gets called here by Seat 9. Seat 9's dominated. He has a Queen, Jack. And
Yeah,
Seat
and
5's
Seat 5
in there.
also.
Jack 8 of spades. And here we go to the flop. Queen 7-6.
Uh-oh.
Well, Michael's got top pair now. Is George going to get in trouble?
You wonder here. And George is in really bad shape, obviously, because his Jack is shared by the player in Seat 5 who has Jack 8. Jim is not in the hand with 9-5.
Michael bets 40. Seat 9 calls. Seat 5 had a Jack 8. He's going to be out of the hand. We're heads up here. So we get two players with top pair. And the pot is about $140 here. And here we go to the turn. The turn's at 10.
Doesn't change anything here.
No. And Michael's going to bet 75.
There you go, Michael. Keep betting.
75 into, a pot that was about $130.
And George is really thinking about it here.
So the pot's now about $200, 75 to call. And he's going to make the call. Now, if you're Michael, what do you put George on? George's got some purple chips there, Dave, which are $75 chips. Looks like he might have about maybe $250 in front of him there, because those purple chips are $25 chips.
Right.
So let's see what the river brings and how he's going to play it. Well, the river's an 8, so anyone with a 9 would have a straight now.
Yeah, but you can't really put this guy in a 9 here, can you?
And this is just going to get checked down. Are you
I mean, you know
advocating possibly value betting?
Well, I
King,
mean,
Queen
I
in
don't
that
mind the
spot?
check there, because you got to look at it and go, okay, I can't beat Queen 6, can't beat Queen 7, can't
Right.
beat Queen 9, can't beat Queen 10, and I can't beat Ace Queen. The
Right.
only hand that I can possibly beat that I'll get paid off by is Queen Jack, exactly.
Right. So not a bad check there by Michael.
I might be advocating actually a nice little blocker bet on the river, though, to be honest with you.
Well, the pot was about $200. The guy had about $200 left. Throwing maybe a $60 to $80
Yeah,
bet.
throw
on the
another
river.
$75 bet in there.
Right. Button's going to move over here, seat 3. And as far as I know, Dave, Whale Knight is going to be back tomorrow, as usual. That's 5,100 no limit. It's the biggest game that we do on this show.
It's one of the biggest games out there. I mean,
It really is.
where's there a bigger 5,100 no limit? I mean, 5,100 blinds.
Right.
No limit hold'em.
Seat 8's going to come in for a raise here. John McClain, he's got King, Queen offsuit. He's going to make it 30 to go.
Jim McClain. I mean, that's just such a movie star's name, isn't it?
Big blind here. Mr. USC, Gary Rowe. He's got pocket 5s. And he's going to make the call.
And we're heads up here, huh?
Yep. Here we
King,
go.
Queen versus pocket 5s.
10-9 deuce. Well, pocket 5s are still good right now.
Now, this is one of those flops where I don't hate the flop if I'm King, Queen, King, Queen here. I got the King of Clubs, a backdoor flush draw here. Plus I have a gut shot. Plus I have overcards.
Gary checked. Jim puts a motion out to bet, and Gary instantly folds here with pocket 5s. Always nice when you don't even have to know the amount that you're going to bet, Dave. The guy just folds. Or he just open folds. That's good, too. Right? Again, you can email us live@thebike.com. I hope everyone's been checking out the LA poker scene. Play for Cash site, Dave. You can click on the right-hand banner. On the right-hand side of your screen at live@thebike.com.
I actually checked it out last night.
There's heads-up matches, and WPT satellite events coming up. Plus, follow your fellow Live at the Bike viewers and the occasional live player. www.lapokerscene.com.
Yeah. It's easy. It's fun. And you can win some money. Button is in seat 4. Hey, it's been recommended that we call seat 8, Jim McClain there, Die Hard. I think that's a good nickname for him. Die Hard.
Gus brought this one in with 7-4 offsuit for 25. He got called in 2 spots. 3-way action here. He-Man is not in the hand there. Jack 4 deuce with a couple of spades.
I can't wait till Die Hard and He-Man have to face it off heads up.
And Gus has hit middle pair, and he's going to bet 75, and he has the best hand. He outflopped everyone, made a little, little raise on the cutoff, and there you go.
Well, Gus said he was going to mix it up, and there you go.
Yeah, GoBots, Transformers. I was a big fan of Heathcliff as well. Button moves over here, seat 5. We got a live straddle going in seat 8.
That's so dirty.
Yeah, Voltron.
Voltron.
Yeah.
So blinds are 5 and 5 in this game.
Yep, so we're going to do a straddle, which means it's going to be $10 to call. The straddle spot in seat 8 will have the option when it comes back around to him whether to check, raise, fold, call, whatever the action is.
Now, in a full ring game, the only thing you really get out of doing a straddle is really livening up the game, creating some action. In a short-handed game, whether you're playing like 3-handed, 4-handed, I advocate straddling every single time.
Look at this. Seat 5 here, open limp in a straddled pot with ace-jack offsuit on the button, Dave. He just limps. And SP Surf and Michael there in seat number 7's got pocket 10s. He's going to raise it to 30. And we're going to get heads up here. Ace-jack against Michael in seat 7. It's a pretty tight limp on the button there in a straddled pot.
Wow.
9-10-3. Michael's got top set here. Carlos is not in the hand.
Now, this is one of those times where you really don't want to take one off. If you're looking at it, you don't have a draw. You have the ace of diamonds, not the ace of hearts in your hands.
Michael's going to bet here immediately. He's going to bet 40. He's got top set. Oh, Michael, of course, big fan of the show, watches the show a lot.
And pretty easy lay down there for Gary. He missed. And that's one of those times where you can't really, some people go, why not check it and let the guy catch up? What, maybe the guy catches a queen and then catches a straight and beats you?
Right.
Some pots just are meant to stay small.
Again, it's always very fishy, I think, especially if you're playing against an advanced player. If you've raised out of the blind, Dave, and rags come, you're not going to come out and throw a bet out there. I just don't buy it. I mean, unless you're really tight weak. You're going to check ace-king heads up. And, some people will just pick up on that pattern and you just, know that you're checking your monsters, right?
Especially in no limit. Limit hold'em, once in a while you might raise out of the big blind with, say, ace-king of clubs for value. And if you get 6 or 7 callers and the flop comes out like, 10, 9, 8 of a different suit.
Right.
You can check and fold.
Right.
Raise 15.
Gus is going to make a little mini raise here. Seat 3.
Yeah, he's got 9, 8 of clubs. And he buys himself the button.
3 players.
And I want to say it's actually, I don't think Carlos is in there.
Yeah, seat 7 and 8 are in there. So the flop comes out here 9,
Wow.
9, 5.
Yeah, and
Gus got trips.
Yeah, Gus has got trips. Seat 7, that's Michael. He's got king jack, and seat 8 has ace 4.
Yep. And Gus didn't bet.
No.
Turns a deuce.
Bet 40.
Well, and he's actually induced a bluff. Seat 8's going to come out and bet here with a wheel draw. The deuce of spades gives him a wheel draw. He's got ace 4 of hearts.
Sometimes you got to be careful though. You give somebody the chance to beat you, and then watch the 3 come out, and then Gus can go broke on it.
And Gus is going to raise it up here to 140.
And the guy raises pre-flop, and then doesn't bet the flop, and then raises on the turn. That's pretty suggestive of a monster, isn't it?
It is, or just, I guess, a stone-cold bluff. The river would have been an ace. Jim would have made a pair of aces there. But again, is that just, is that consistent play? Will a player pick up on that pattern, Dave, that Gus is going to check a monster? I mean, isn't tight aggressive play pretty much raising and betting, almost every flop anyways?
Well, if you're going to raise in late position with 8, 9 of clubs,
right,
and you're buying yourself position, when your opponents check to you, you really should bet probably 80% of the time.
Right.
And if you're only betting when you need to, and you're checking when you have a monster, good players will pick up on that.
A little backwards poker, right?
Exactly.
Seat 4 is going to limp in here with ace-jack offsuit.
3 players.
Three-way action. Jack 8-7 here.
Now we got kicker problems here for Jim. Let's see if he gets himself in trouble. But seat 9 is going to take a shot at it with second pair.
He's got king 8.
And the flop is Jack 8-7, 2 clubs.
He's going to bet 40 into an $11 pot, and Ross is like, there's $11 in that pot. He's got ace jack here, and it doesn't look like he's even going to get involved. Wow. Well, Jim's got top pair.
40 into a $10 pot, and the best hand folds, and the second best hand folds.
There it is.
You can look at that. You can look at that one online too, and I made $10, so that's more than I made for that hand to be stayed in.
And again, the pot was $11 because it was $15
Yeah, I was having
minus
this-
the rake and the jackpot.
I was having this argument with Alan, though.
I was dead in that.
Alan was saying, you know, would you call a big, if let's say the pot's only $50, and a guy bets 300 into it, would you call it less than the nuts? And my argument was the pot is no longer $50. It's now $350.
Right.
And will I call it less than nuts? Hey, if I think my hand is the best one, yes, I will. I mean, right there, the pot was $11, but when he puts 40 in it, the pot's now 51. And will I call it if I think my hand's the best one? I mean, it's kind of a backwards way to think there. If a guy wants to risk $40 to win 11, hey, let me actually take him up on that once in a while.
Might have been one of those spots for ace jack. One of those times when you just, you call in position there, see what the guy does on the turn. Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't mind the laydown. It's not, I mean, ace jack, you can pick a better spot. I was just saying, I mean, sometimes people will say, oh, I lay down 2 pair there. I even lay down a set there if it's not top set. The guy has to have me beat. Not necessarily.
5-way action here, limped around. King, queen, 7, rainbow.
For me to bet 100, now there's $20 in there.
Oh, yeah, no.
And it looks like we got a king 8 over there in seat 2. Turn is a 7, and now seat 9 has trips. He's got 6, 7. And we have a $20 bet here by the king in seat 2. Seat number 5 calls with queen jack, and we're going to see a raise here on the button. George has got trip 7s. He's going to raise it up. It's going to make it 75 to go.
Now, I'd like to see if he's going to overbet second pair. I'd like to see him overbet when he has trips also. You know, be consistent with that overbetting.
Raise to 75. King 8 gets out of there. But Gary's still struggling with his hand.
I mean, there's a good theory out there that if you overbet your bluffs, but you also overbet your best hands, you sometimes can get paid off huge.
And Gary's going to take it down there. There it is.
George, you mean?
George.
Yeah.
Gary folds.
Gary
George
folds.
takes
George
it
takes
down.
down. Okay. Got a little confused there. Once again, we are live at the bike, folks. We're playing No Limit Hold'em. The lines are 5 and 5. This is a restricted buy-in game. The buy-in is anywhere from $300 to $500. I'm David Tuckman. I'm here with Bart Hansen. If you have any questions for us, comments, concerns, advice, or you just want to tell us how darn good-looking we are, you can email us at liveatthebike.com and let us know.
Look at this. We got a post on 2+2 here, Dave, by CDN Cypher. He says, those comments about the commentators was, yes, a valid opinion, but come on, we play poker, and as far as it goes for me, I don't play with my grandmothers and tea party goers. Good job, boys, on the show. Recent archive subscriber and well worth it. Hello from Canada. Well, that guy doesn't know. Don't get me started on Canada. No, I'm just kidding. We were
I'm
very
a
friends.
big fan. I'm a big fan of Canada. Don't go on them. Like I said, I mean, 99% of the stuff we say is in jest. Try to keep this as entertaining as possible. Please don't take anything personal. Unless, of course, we mean it personally.
We had a raise here by Gus. And Ross folded ace-jack pretty tight. And Gus has got top pair, and he checked it from up front. Turns a 4. So Gus is playing kind of tricky. And now he's going to bet.
You know, what is he? I mean, the board is king 4 deuce. What is your opponent going to catch that's going to make him apt to play anything? The only thing he's going to catch is an ace. I mean, if I have ace king there, maybe you can check it once, and if your opponent catches his ace, you can kill him.
Right.
You know, when I have king queen though, what can my opponent catch that it's going to, you know, where's he going to lose a lot of money? What if he catches his 9? I mean, he's not going to go broke if he catches a 9 there. I just don't understand the play. And we see it all the time. Sometimes people are trying to play it tricky and slow play and induce bluffs. And there are times to do it, but you've got to figure out when. You know, it's got to be a time where your opponent can catch something that will give them the appearance that they have the best hand.
Got it. Buttons moved over to seat 2. We got an ace-queen suited
Raise, make it 15.
over there in seat number 7. But seat 5 is going to open with king 10 of clubs, 15. And Michael's just going to call with the ace-queen, seat 7. Alan in seat 2's got pocket 4s. This is the first hand we're going to see him play. Or one of the first hands.
And we see one of his 4s is dead. Gus has 4.
And Gus is going to call with 8-4 offsuit from the small blind. Wow. Really
And what's
loosening
the
his game up.
raise?
15.
Wow, okay.
5-way action here. $75 pot. Jack 7-5.
Wow, and is Allen's hand still good with pocket 4s?
Looks like it is.
Wow. How does Allen know that?
Well, Michael, it gets checked to him. He's going to bet with overcards. And Alan folds.
Now, Michael's also got the backdoor spade draw, which does add a little bit of value to it.
Now, Gus, we don't have his cards up. It's 4-8 offsuit. He's got a gut shot. Gut shot to the 6 here. And he's going to call. Check call with the draw. And
Now-
seat 5 is in there with king 10 of clubs. Wow.
Now, I promised Gus that we wouldn't be too hard on him. He said that he was going to play it like a little more donkeyish today.
Turns an 8. And Gus now has the best hand. Picks up a pair of 8s on the turn. He's going to bet.
Oh, there you go, Gus.
Bet 50.
He bets 50. I don't know really what Gary was doing in there.
Overcards? One overcard, really, only.
Well, it might have been that Gary might have I might have gotten the action wrong. Gary might have followed up with a bet on the flop, and maybe Michael called. I'm not sure.
That might have been the way it went. And I imagine it's going to go fold here. And Gus is going to take it down. Nice bet by Gus. And actually, Gus's word was not donkeyish. It was actually, he used to say he was going to mix it up today.
Okay.
And not to be too hard on him.
Mixing it up, huh?
You know, he might notice as he mixes it up, he might notice that it works a little better than just playing it straightforward ABC type poker.
Right.
Especially in no limit hold'em.
If you didn't call that, I was going to raise. If you didn't call, I would have raised.
Here's a look at He-Man. He-Man Rodriguez.
You love saying that name, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Raise, make it 20.
What was He-Man's last name?
I don't think superheroes have last names, do they? I mean, it's not like Superman Goldman, is it?
Seat 6 brought this one in here. Looks like to 20. He's got pocket aces. Seat 8's going to call it the suited connector. He-Man's in there with pocket 5s.
And Allen's got pocket 9s. Is he going to re-raise this?
It looks like he is, David, and he's in big trouble.
And I got to be honest, that's a hand sometimes with pocket 9s in no limit hold'em. Sometimes I don't like to re-raise that.
Yeah.
I'd almost rather just call and see what happens, especially in position.
And he made it 90.
Because now when it gets back to Carlos and Carlos bangs it back to him, then what happens?
Well, you know, Allen, pretty solid player. He should be able to get away from it. But the thing here is Carlos could play a tricky David and just call, figuring everyone's just going to fold, especially if the people aren't really deep or if Allen's not really deep, right?
It's a big enough
Yeah.
enough bet that you think that it might just get heads up anyway.
Well, let's see how Carlos is going to play it. I think Carlos only has maybe...
Oh.
He's really short here, so I think he's going to put the rest of his chips in.
105.
And it's actually 105 more. Carlos is all in for less.
Yeah.
He's all in for less here.
Well, Allen has done Carlos the favor of protecting his hand.
Right. Back over to He-Man. He's got pocket 5. I'm sure he's not
And,
going
and the interesting thing is, with pocket 9s in this situation, what you need is like 5 or 6 callers. But Allen has isolated his opponent.
So Allen's going to need to hit a 9.
Yeah.
9's against pocket aces here. Heads up. Here we go.
Hey, you had the reaction.
Queen deuce 3, no help. Turns a heart. No one has a heart. Carlos is going to double through Allen there with pocket
And
aces.
it was funny, actually. I believe seat 8 called with 4 6 of hearts and would have made a flush.
That's right. That's right.
Would have been a great flop for him, actually. Look at that flop for 4 6 of hearts. Gut shot with the flush draw.
Well, you're not going to take that hand, you know, $100 all in, though. Obviously.
Rarely.
Yeah. Button moves over here to seat 4.
Bet blind.
8s and 10s. That would be your aces.
And the big blinds in seat 5, or the small blinds in seat 5, big blinds in seat 6. Again, we're playing 300 to 500, no limit hold'em. You can buy in for a minimum of 300 or a maximum of 500. The blinds for this game are 5 and 5. We use yellow chips, which are $5 chips. Blue chips are $1 chips. Purple chips are $25 chips. Alan always has a box of Junior Mints, doesn't he?
He loves them.
Four-way action here. I asked him, I'm like, well, did you at least see the Seinfeld episode with the Junior Mints? He said, no. I don't watch Seinfeld. And I'm like, where have you been? King Deuce here on the flop. Doesn't really look like it hit anybody.
No, Carlos has got the best hand with Jack Deuce.
Well, seat 8's going to come out. Jim, he's going to bet with Jack 10 here. He's going to try to steal the pot. And Carlos is not going to get involved with Jack Deuce.
Yeah.
And
Probably the wise thing to do.
Oftentimes, when the board comes paired, everybody misses, right?
Exactly. Good way to go there. Now, this game's a great little, it's kind of a great in-between game. If you're just starting out and you're playing 100 or 200, but you're kind of intrigued by the 500 game, which is obviously an unrestricted buying game. This is a nice game to kind of, get experience in playing a little deeper stack. When you win a couple of pots, the blinds are only 5-5. Suddenly you have $600-700 in front of you, and you can really start playing poker then.
Well, we're going to see another straddle here out of seat 7, so it's going to be $10 to call this hand. There actually is a lot of gamblers that play this game, Dave. If you go out there like on a Friday or Saturday night, guys will come in for 500 and move all in, blind or something like that. I mean, you obviously really can't do that in the 500 game when, we might buy in for 2,000 or 3,000 behind, right?
Well, you've said this is your favorite game. You love this game, don't you? I mean, I know there was a time there where you were double fisting every Friday night, and this was your game of choice. And you were killing it, too.
Gus is raised here with ace-5 of spades, and Ross mucked ace-jack suited. Wow. To Gus's raise.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa, not against
I mean, I got to tell you, if I have Ross behind me, I'm raising every single time he has the button. If I'm in the cutoff seat, because I know he's not going to call unless he has a monster.
Right one of that don't matter.
Well, the funny thing, though, is that Gus hasn't shown down these bad hands yet, or these, say, questionable hands. Not necessarily bad hands, but just,
Well, Gus he has a pretty good reputation of being a pretty solid player. And I'm sure a couple of these players at this table know him. He is a regular in the 3 to 5 game. I've never actually seen him take a shot at the 500 game, though.
And again, Gus is the gentleman that had the gall to wear a Longhorns hat last week.
Yeah.
Here on the show.
Look who's laughing now, huh?
Got a lot of chips on the table. Gus has got Jack 10 offsuit. He just limps.
Yeah, normally we start this table off at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, so it's going for 2 or 3 hours before our webcast starts. But tonight we actually only got it down about 5:30. So.
Queen Deuce 5 here, all diamonds.
Well, there's a flush there for George Mosher. He's got Jack 9 of diamonds.
And he's going to bet right here. He's going to bet 15, Dave, into about a $25 pot. He's
Now,
flopped the flush.
Now, if you start picking up on these patterns, remember before when he had second pair, he bet 40 into a $10 pot. Now he bets 15 into a $25 pot with the nuts.
Yeah.
Well, not the nuts, but as far as we're concerned, it's the nuts.
Now, in this case, no one really has a higher diamond draw. And no one's even going to call. So he bets right into the made flush. Takes it down.
And a lot of people say, why didn't he slow play it? Why not let somebody get something? Sometimes the best way to get action on those hands is to bet them right out. And if somebody has the ace of diamonds, the king of diamonds, or somebody has 2 pair, they're not going to believe that you would bet your flush right out.
Yeah.
And they'll end up raising you. Sometimes you can get all the money in right on the flop.
So, Dave, are you going to make your football predictions?
Later in the week, yeah.
Why later in the week?
Developments might happen. Tom Brady can get hit by a car this week. I don't know.
It's funny. I was listening to Dan Patrick on ESPN Radio on my way to work today. He's talking about how, Herman Edwards, even though I'm sure you liked it, he really screwed the Jets. I mean, he's basically breaking his contract extension. And apparently in the NFL, coaches have a lot more leniency or have a lot more liberty to just say, screw you guys, I'm leaving, than say players do.
Well, they don't really have the liberty because another team has to give him compensation.
Okay, but you can't do that with a player, though. I don't think it works the same way.
Well, you can trade a player.
We had a raise here by Jim. Queen Jack offsuit. He made it 50 to go out of the small blind. Now, Ross limped in with King 10. I'm sure he's not going to call a raise here from a blind with King 10 offsuit.
No. Jim's going to take this down.
Yeah.
I mean, the same way, if a player is unhappy with their contract, they can complain to the team. The team can say, screw you. Or the team can obviously trade them to another team for compensation.
And it's mostly the way that NFL works, and I never quite understood this. You never see, say, straight-up trades. It's always trades for draft picks because of some sort of salary cap implications
of course.
or something like that.
Well, I mean,
you never really trade a player. I mean, player for player.
Right. Well, look at this first chip count of the night.
Count, yeah.
Gus here with the lead up to 800 already. Jim with 600. Carlos and Gary bringing up the rear with only a couple of hundred there. Like we said, not a lot of chips on the table yet, but it's early.
Right. And we'll keep track of that and see who's going to be moving up. And now we got pocket kings here in the small blind, seat 9. That's George. Just had that flopped flush earlier. Limp here, and he's going to raise.
20 more?
Going to make it 20 more.
Kind of a little sweetener,
Yeah, I don't necessarily know if that's going to, I guess you'd want to get this, maybe heads up or three-handed. But it might do the trick. And Jim's going to call. So we're heads up, pocket kings against 6-5 offsuit. It's about a $50 pot. Wow, set of kings here for George. Let's see how he's going to play it.
Now, Jim does have a gut shot.
He's going to bet.
And overcards to the deuce and the 3.
He bets 20.
Now, do you take one off here? I mean, why not, right?
Well,
if you hit your 4.
Well, how about he's going to raise with a draw? Maybe George, I'm thinking that George is weak. And let's see how George is going to play it. Now, George is out of position. It's 35 more to go.
Well, you wonder if maybe George is like, if George is representing that he had jacks or queens, doesn't really like the flop. Jim is trying to represent the king here.
Well, George only looks like he has maybe 250 left. See how he's going to play it. Looks like he's going to come back over the top. Those are purple chips.
Yeah, and he is.
He's made it 100 more.
And it's I always advocate, obviously, raising with your draws, but you do open yourself up and open the betting up again. And now you might price yourself out of the draw, where who knows, a turn might have brought that magical 4.
Well, again, you talk about fold equity. If the guy, he can't really come back over the top here. Jim's going to call. And he shows the set of kings.
And, wow, look at that. The turn would have been the 4, but it would have been a 4 of clubs. So George had some redraw there. And if he had just called, who knows? Maybe all the money would have gone in on the turn there. Set of kings and a 6-high straight.
You got to figure. And the other thing that people don't realize. The other thing that people don't realize is they say, well, why not just smooth call the raise with kings? Well, if you do that, what are you going to do on the turn?
If a club comes even.
Well, not even, but even if a blank comes, you're going to go for the check raise, and then a smart guy who's on a draw is just going to check right behind you,
Exactly.
Right? So you really haven't accomplished anything.
So you check, right. You end up checking.
Yeah.
Your opponent checks, and the river comes out of blank, and you bet, and your opponent's missed, so he throws his hand away.
Right.
Raise, make it 25.
$25 raise here by Gus. Under the gun, he's got ace-queen suited. Seat 5's going to call it pocket 7s.
Is that what it is? Are you still mad? Are you still mad about the queen 8?
Seat 8's going to call 8-10 off suit.
I'm going to get it back. $5 at a time.
Let's see if Alan's going to play here from the small blind. He's going to call. So we got 4-way action. It's a $100 pot. Here we go. Gus is the pre-flop raiser.
You were that hand with me just now.
King, queen, 3. Well, Gus still has the best hand.
I didn't have cards. You raised them out. You made it 25 and you raised them out.
And did Gus check there?
So I'm going to
Gus?
check.
I think Gus hasn't done anything yet. He's going to bet.
That's 60.
He's going to bet 60 here into a $100 pot. Gary's 7s don't look too hot now with 2 overcards flopping.
Yeah, especially a king and a queen.
And I don't even think Alan's going to get involved with this one, is he?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's a good bet by Gus. He's got to throw some money out there and see where he's at. When you have ace-queen, obviously you want to hit a pair, but the one card you don't want to see is the king.
I mean, the only thing that Alan can obviously beat here would be, obviously a pocket pair, 9s, 10s, jacks.
Yeah, 9-10s jacks are just
Ace jack.
nothing ace jack, something
Yeah.
like that. But you're out of position with not that good a hand.
And he's going to get rid of it.
Take it.
Button's going to move over there to seat 9. Or seat 1.
Big blind.
Small blind, big blind. It's funny, as I sit here commentating on the game, I hear the floor lady, Donna, talk about how she's apologizing to you because of the comment that I brought forth yesterday on the show. I kind of put Donna on the spot yesterday.
Well,
About
Donna
English
was the one who
people.
said it. I mean, Donna came back from England, and she actually came back and she said, those people over there, they're ugly.
Please, make it 25.
But she thought England was beautiful.
I still got it. That means it's still lucky.
$25 raise here
What you got left?
by seat 9, pocket 3s, and he's going to take it down.
A good raise in late position. Why not raise it and take control of the pot? You get called by one person, you can really use your position to win that pot.
They do have good beer in England, Dave. Like I said, I'm a fan of bitters. Bitter beer, which is a different form of, not lager, obviously. Boddington's bitter. They also have different types of stout. Beamish.
Okay,
Button moves over to seat 2.
I hate to show my age, but I'm looking at a 2+2 thread, and I have no idea what this guy is saying. There's an email from a stranger. Actually, it's his first post, and the name is the Rikasaurus.
Yeah, but it wasn't to me.
And he says, anyone got a boner?
Kilter there. You gave it to that other guy.
What does that mean?
Maybe because the play on the table is, I don't know, weak.
Oh, okay. I just didn't get it.
Limp here. And Gus is going to raise here. He's got 8-3 offsuit. He's going to make it 15 to go. And we're heads up here. Ace-7 offsuit's called. 8-3 against Ace-7.
All diamonds here. And Jim's got the ace of diamonds.
Well, Gus checks it. Jim has got the nut flush draw. He's going to bet. I don't really know. I mean, Gus raised to 15, Dave. What are you trying to accomplish with rags out of the small blind? I guess he's just trying to loosen it up.
I mean, I imagine if the flop didn't come out all diamonds, maybe he takes a shot at it.
didn't have any.
But again, what we talk about, that's probably one of the best flops you can see when you're not playing your own cards, because it's one of the scariest flops,
Yeah.
right? 3 of a suit.
Right, no, I agree with you. I mean, I guess in that case, Gus just scared himself, though.
Okay. Button moves over here to Gus, seat 3.
25.
And Michael's going to open here. 25, King Jack, offsuit. Seat 8 calls with a 7-9. That guy's been pretty loose all night so far, Mr. Diehard over there. And He-Man's in there with ace deuce of diamonds.
How you doing, Gus? Good. 3 players.
Here we go. 3-way action. 8-8-7. Jim's got a pair of 7s. Michael's going to make a little continuation bet here. Looks like 20 into a $75 pot. Jim calls.
5 and 5, right? Yeah, it's 5 and 5.
And
2 of you.
Superhero's out of there. Here we go to the turn. Turns an ace. He-Man would have had best hand here. See if Michael can use that and really push forward. Well, you know, he made the little tiny continuation bet on the flop, Dave. He got called. You know, if he had bet more there, Michael, he probably would have taken the hand down, right?
Yeah, you know what, though? When you bet and you get called...
You might be afraid that the guy might have...
Well, I mean, the flop is 8-8-7, and then the ace comes out. It's just, I mean, it's getting worse and worse. Sometimes you got to pick your spots, though, right? I don't mind just a check fold there.
Button moves over here to seat 4.
Once again, you can catch live at the bike every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 until next week when we actually go from 7 to 10.
That's right.
And we're changing it to 7 o'clock to Sometimes obviously it's hard to get to the casino at 6 o'clock due to Los Angeles traffic.
What do you play when you go there?
So we're
we
doing it
figured-
for the sake of the game.
Yeah.
What do you play?
Make it 20.
$20 raise here by seat 2.
Like they're $600 games.
Is it straight 600 or?
Alan's got 7-10 of clubs.
That's like the 5 unrestricted here. Good game. Very good. Were you talking about this? That's what we're talking about.
And He-Man lays it down,
He's going
and
to take it down, man.
yeah.
No.
I never see him eating the junior mints, though. He always has a box of
No,
them.
he just gives them out.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a way for him to make friends.
Is that like me and my beef jerky?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you sell your beef jerky.
Yeah, but not that much. Not at a great profit.
Not at a great. Oh, so you do sell it at a profit.
Slightly.
That's great. Bart here. He doesn't. We don't deal drugs here. Bart deals beef jerky.
Yeah, open limp here under the gun. 4-7 of diamonds. Seat 8.
Hey, I need 2 cards. And Gus looks like he's going to put a little raise in there. Makes it $20 with Jack 10 of hearts. Kind of a little sweetener here. But he's probably going to buy himself the button and get it heads up against Jim
Against
here.
Jim. And here we go.
We got Jack 10 of hearts against 7-4 diamonds.
Well, this flop misses everyone. Now, can Jim take off here, Dave, if Gus bets? He has
How about how
bottom
can Jim
pair.
bet?
No, I'm saying, how can Jim call? But we often see people call in the spot. Gus is going to bet here. Ace 4-5 with a couple of clubs.
Often the best thing to do is if you're thinking of calling with bottom pair, why not bet it? See if your opponent missed it. Because remember, your opponent might have pocket 9s, pocket 8s, and they might be scared of the ace also.
Turn was a jack. Gus would have had the best hand.
I'll give you 10.
But nothing wrong, obviously, with a flop like that. Nothing wrong with checking and folding 4-7
Right.
of diamonds.
And we get into the next hand here. So Gus has really kind of opened it up here tonight. Have we seen seat 6 play a hand, or seat 4 for that matter, Dave, the entire night? I mean, these guys are new. It was new blood, but jeez. They're tighter than some of the other people that we used to have
Well,
on
sometimes
the
the
show.
newer people that are coming into this game are coming from the $200 game.
Right.
And often when you move up, your comfort level's not quite there, and you're playing it a little tighter. I mean, you saw me when I played in that $5,000 game.
One team more to call.
It happens to the best of us. And in my case, against the worst of us.
Now, Michael raised it out of the small blind. He's got pocket 9s. He made it 25 to go.
He-Man's got deuces. And he just doesn't have enough money, I don't think, to go for it, though.
Well, he's got about 250, maybe about that 10 times that amount. And I don't know. And I think Michael's got him covered, so that was borderline. He's not going to get involved.
I mean, Michael might be the action guy on this table right now.
Right. The 2+2er, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at this email here. I'm looking at a 2+2 post here. And once again, if you want to go to 2+2, you can follow a live thread. Just go to Live at the Bike and click on the 2+2 thread. Anyway, one from Streets here said, I just realized these damn commentators are going to make my job a lot more difficult. Let's just focus on color commentary and less on strategy, huh, boys? And, obviously, Baron Wenger Talk addresses that. But I'll say, players that are playing just for entertainment, that are fish or are live players, they're not listening they're just watching for enjoyment.
Right.
They're not really here to learn. Human nature, it just kind of stick with it. And if you're not a good player and you don't want to learn how to be a good player, you're not going to listen to anybody anyway. So I wouldn't worry too much.
Limped around here. We get a raise here out of one of the blinds. He's got Jack 10 offsuit and seat 9. Out of the big blind, he makes it 15 more. And we haven't seen a pre-flop raise over 25 bucks here tonight. Sometimes it's crazy. But again, we talk about usually the stacks are a little bit deeper in this game. Ace-7 king. And George is going to come out and bet. Now, Michael had limped in on the button with Ace-9 offsuit. And look at that. He's going to fold. He's not going to get involved. George raised out of the blind. Again, that might be, a spot there, Dave. Well, obviously, you've got 3 options. Call, fold, or raise. I mean, you could call and see what happens on the turn, right?
Yeah, often call. You point
Yeah.
it all the time. Often calling at no limit is
Right.
as powerful as raising, or even more so.
Hard to see, if a guy's got pocket jacks, tens, or queens. Can he fire twice when there's an ace and king up there? And
And if he fires again, you can usually safely fold.
You're protege. You're my protege.
And it's funny, how, even more to the point there, some of the people that we commentate about, like, say, Georgian, who I think referred to you as a donkey, right? He might even say that if people are listening to us, they might become worse poker players.
right.
40.
Raise here to 20 by seat 3. And a re-raise, 40. Seat 5.
I'll just fold now.
He's got ace king. Queen jack brought it in. And Gus brought this one with queen jack. So it's a mini raise here by Gary.
Now, Gary, you haven't heard much from Gary all day, and how he's raising him, so.
Gus calls. So our heads up ace king against jack queen, $80 pot. And Gus out flops him.
Now, this is the problem, though. Gus is out of position, and how does he know where he's at? Is he up against ace king?
Gus,
Or is he up against pocket aces, pocket kings, or pocket queens?
Gus checks. Gary bets 40. He bets half the size of the pot.
80.
And Gus is going to mini check raise here, Dave.
It's kind of a let's see where I'm at.
Makes it 80.
Well, Gary kind of gave his hand away there, huh? Ah, damn it, jeez, God, ah.
Well, the interesting thing here for Gus though is that if you take a look at Gary's chip stack there, I mean Gus is check raised. He's check raised it and he's made it 80 total, which means the pot is now 200. If Gary were to come back over the top now, all in for let's say maybe another 100, the pot would be 300. 100 to call, right?
Yeah, Gus can't go anywhere.
Can you not? You pretty much have to make that call with
Of
one
course,
pair, don't you?
not even question.
Especially he's got a club in his hand, just other.
You have to. Even if the guy showed you aces, 2 red aces, you'd almost have to call.
Right.
That's what I figured. That's what I put you on. That's why that flop was not a good flop.
There you go, thebike.com. You can also go to live@thebike.com. And that's spelled out. That's live AT.
Yeah, that's the show's website.
Thebike.com.
But our email is hosted on thebike.com's website.
So it's
that's
live symbol at
Right.
thebike.com.
Right. And Alan just limped in here with Ace King, Dave. I mean, this has been a really, really passive table. I think that you would want to put some more money in the pot with your premium hands.
That was the wrong move.
But he,
Raise blind would have been a better raise.
well, he's in the big blind. So I thought he had limped under the gun.
And
with
he's
Ace
raising.
King. Yeah, he's going to raise.
35.
At a table like this, you've got to raise.
Yeah.
I mean, you can even raise your suited connectors in a table like this.
35 more. And look at Carlos. He keeps limp folding with the suited connectors, which is actually, with his chip stack, probably the correct move.
Yeah.
He
Limping
just
in,
doesn't
trying
have
to
that
see a
much.
flop for
Yeah.
cheap. I mean, oftentimes the correct move is just reaching your pocket and throwing another $300 or $400 down.
Right, because he only has about, 200 in front of him there, so.
I mean, I don't really want to play this game. I don't really want to play any no-limit game short stacked.
And the problem with some of the restricted buy-in games is that we spread here at the bike is that you can only play it kind of on a short stack. I mean, when you buy in for a game and you only get 40 big blinds, Dave, that is the short stack. I mean, it's just not much room for maneuvering there.
All right. Options. I checked a little limper.
Limped around here.
Yeah, I checked a little limper.
So under the gun limped here, what looks like with ace 9 of diamonds. And Gus has got queen 8 of diamonds. Alan's got the old monster deuce 7. Jack 9 deuce here on the flop. Looks like ace 9's got the best hand here. And C4's going to bet 15. Second pair. Overcard kicker.
That's equal to 15 now.
Again, the flop is Jack 9 deuce.
Now, what is Gus? Gus has got a gut shot here. Needs a 10.
And he's going to call.
Backdoor diamonds.
Turns a 5. Backdoor diamonds, which he's shared also by his opponent.
Now, you wonder here, actually, if, well, Gus is going to bet
He's
it.
going to come out and bet on the 5 of hearts. Ross is going to quickly call.
Wow.
And here we go to the river. River's a jack. And now Gus checks. And can you value bet here when the jack pairs on the river, Dave?
I think so. I just don't believe that
Gus would have checked a jack there from,
You got to wonder now, is he going to pay me off at all? But
Right.
hey, if he has a 9 and he has, say, a 9 anything else except
Right.
ace, you might get a call.
Right.
I mean, you have to be worried, I suppose, that people. I want to thank Gray Dot over 2+2. He's letting me know that a boner is an erection. I wasn't sure. That's what confused me. You have to be worried, obviously, no limit. Some people do try to play it tricky and they try to check raise the river. But oftentimes you can put a value bet in there, and if you are check raised on the river, more often than not, you are behind.
Pocket jacks here, seat 6. And I think that seat 6 just limped. Carlos, Dave. Boy, is he playing passive. So we got 5-way action here. Here we go. 7, 6, 9. Well, pretty awful flop for jacks if you just limped in with it from up front. Couple clubs out there. Looks like we got a king 8 over there in seat 8. But Carlos is going to put a little feeler bet. He's going to bet 20 here with the overpair.
It's not, I mean, is it really that bad a flop for Pocket Jacks limped in? He's got the jack clubs.
5, 6-way action?
Oh, 5, 6-way action. Okay.
2 players.
And we're heads up here. Jacks against king 8. Turns a deuce, and jacks are still in the lead. And he's going to bet 50. And let's see if Jim's going to continue to chase here. I wouldn't imagine.
Now, the problem with chasing this is if you hit it, it's a one-liner to a straight. And are you really going to get paid off?
And the reason why I said it was an awful flop, I mean,
Yeah.
when you limp in with aces, and it doesn't,
No.
and it doesn't get re-raised, you get 5-way action. I mean, that's
Yeah,
an awful
I
flop
actually
for me, right?
misconstrued because I looked up and I thought it was only 3-handed.
Oh.
And I looked and I go, it's not that bad. I mean, I can think of worse ones, Then you had said it was 5-handed. I go, oh, right, okay.
There's a lot of times when you're watching the cash, you want to see what.
That guy's got the same haircut as the Greek poker god, George Georgian. Pocket jacks over here for, there it is. Pocket jacks over here for Gus on the button, seat 3, limp.
Jacks are going around, huh?
He's going to raise.
Wait, he even said, he goes, button raise.
35 more.
He's going to make it 35 to go.
Think Jim's going to call this with Jack 9 of spades. No,
No.
wow.
Seat
Die
9
Hard gets rid of it.
Seat 9's got 7-5 of clubs. He's going to get rid of it. And Gus is going to take it down. And the button's going to move over there to seat 4.
Now this game here, I mean, it's almost like the argument. It makes the argument that it's not necessarily right that the more money you have, the better the poker players are, because oftentimes we'll see our $1,000 game, which is on Friday nights, which with 10, 20 blinds, and that game has far weaker players than say this game would have.
Right.
Although this game is a little bit weak tight, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would definitely say this game is weak tight right now, for sure. I mean, Gus is definitely the livest one in the game right now.
Yeah. Any game where you can say Gus is the livest one.
Right. And I don't really mean live meaning, the worst one. I'm just saying he's actually trying to add some action to the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Got a raise to 15 here by seat 4. Wow. He's changing it up with 9-5 offsuit on the button. And he's going to get called in a couple of spots. Well, let's see if he can follow up with a bet here, Dave. If he does bet, he should take it down. But look at this. George is going to bet with absolutely nothing.
Yeah, George has done this a couple of times now. And I think it's going to work. I mean, can Carlos call that with pocket 4s?
Nope. There it is.
And the turn would have been a 10. I mean, George actually would have gotten there.
That is George.
I mean, are you ready to make your football predictions for this weekend already? Indianapolis, Pittsburgh? Who
Yes.
wins?
I am.
Who wins?
I would take Pittsburgh with the points.
Pittsburgh getting the 9.5.
Right.
But Indy to win?
The money line's on to get about 400 there, plus 400 for Pittsburgh.
Who's going to win
They
the
got
game?
a real good shot.
What are you, like a gambling junkie here? Who's going to win the game?
Probably Indianapolis, I would
Okay.
think, more than 50% of the time. But much like poker,
Well, it's good that you have some
Can-
really
can-
strong conviction on this one.
can I be sure, say, 80% of the time that they're going to win? That's what the odds are. I mean, the pot's laying me 4-1. Raise here by Gus to 25 with King Jack.
2 players.
And seat 8 over there, ace 9 offsuit's going to call out of position. Here we go. Heads up. Oh, there's an ace. Ace 4-4. Let's see how Jim's going to play it. He checks.
You know, the first step, Bart, is just admitting that you have the problem.
I don't sports gamble.
45.
And Gus is going to bet 45 here. And look at this, a big check raise here by Jim, and Gus instantly folds. Well, there's a perfect example of what we talk about, Dave, right, with the ace, with an
Yes.
ace 9,
Yes, that exactly is a good example.
which would be lose a big pot, win a small pot, right? In this case, the guy won a small pot.
I mean, once in a while, like I said, I will play ace rag, but I'm not looking to hit my ace. I'm looking to hit a wheel. I'm looking to hit a flush. I'm looking to hit 2 pair. I'm looking to hit trips of my lower card. I don't even want trip aces. So honestly, I mean, if I have ace 5, I don't want the flops coming out ace 10. Once again, I'm going to either win a small pot or
Right, that
lose a
doesn't
big
really
one.
change anything.
Now, if I have ace 5 and the flop comes out king 5-5,
Right.
hey, that might be interesting. And speaking of the devil there, He-Man in seat 1 has ace 5 suited.
And he limped in.
5 players.
And it's okay to play that hand. You have to have the discipline to get away from it when you just flop 1 ace.
Well, 5-way action. Carlos has got top pair here. He's on the button with Jack 8. He-Man checks.
$10.
And Carlos is going to bet $10, Dave. Big old $10 into a $20 pot.
It might take it down.
And Gus is going to call here with a red queen 8.
Yeah, the flop is jack. Now the turn is jack of clubs. So we've got 2 jacks out there, 7-4, couple of spades, couple of clubs. Gus has got absolutely nothing.
Gus checks. Carlos bets 25. Button's going to take it down.
Well, you know, at a table like this, Gus really can mix it up. You know, and he's doing great here. I mean, I want to say he's up over $900 already.
To $900.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so what about the Denver-New England game?
Are you kidding me? Never been so sure about a game in my life.
Okay. So I'm assuming you're going New England. Okay. Well, it's good that you're completely objective about that one.
Right.
25.
Just like the Jets were going to make the Super Bowl this year.
Hey,
Gus is going to raise it up to 25 in seat 3.
you gotta throw that dig in there, don't you?
Almost came in.
5-way action. Oh, 4-way action, it looks like here. He's going to get called in 3 spots.
That's a $100 pot now.
3 of the aces are out. So let's see here if we get a case ace. No. 9 deuce 5 with a couple of hearts.
It's missed everybody. Now, Gus has a gut shot. Let's see if anybody's aggressive enough and takes this away. The pot is $100. If anybody throws out a nice $75 bet here, they will take it.
Well, if he makes the continuation, he's going to move all in, Dave. He moves all in. And this is interesting. I mean, is he doing this because all of the other opponents in the hand are on the short stack? I wouldn't imagine that he is risking the 800 or 900 that he has in front of him. We can
Clearly
see
not. I mean, you look at it.
Seat 5's short. Carlos is short, and then we'll have to look over there at seat 1 to He-Man and see if he's got. Yeah, it's pretty much risk. It's about a $200 bet into a $100 pot in essence.
Yeah, and I think he's over betting it a little bit. I don't think he needs to bet that much. I mean, I understand it's going to work probably, obviously, but if he bets 100, he bets $75, he's probably going to take it down anyway.
He takes it down, and he
And
shows the bluff.
But he had the best draw.
Right. No, it had a pair.
Exactly.
I guess what he was trying to accomplish there too is say, you know, if somebody had, 5-6, 5-6 of spades, or maybe a 9, 8-9. He's really trying to put the pressure on that person, right? Could 8-9 call there on that flop? Another $200.
Yeah, he wonder.
Button moves over here to seat 8.
And even more so, I mean, if somebody had pocket 6s or pocket 7s, would they have called? Who knows? Either way, though, I was pretty sure he knew that his hand was 6 high was not good, and he took it down.
Seat 8 is going to raise here to 45.
With pocket deuces.
45. Well, there's a little pattern for you, Dave. We haven't seen any raises above 25 all game long.
And he makes it 45 with deuces.
Yeah,
You think maybe he doesn't want to see a flop?
possibly.
And it's weird there. I mean, you think with pocket deuces, don't you want to see a flop? I mean, no limit hold'em is all about big pots in the sense. I mean, do I really want to? I'm risking 45 to win 950.
Button moves over here, C9. And somebody correctly points out there in internet land, Dave, did you ever watch Growing Pains?
Of course.
Mike's friend, Boner.
Yeah,
Remember
yeah.
that guy?
Remember the blonde of that chick on that show? The blonde chick. What's her name? Mike. It was Mike's girlfriend for a while.
Yeah, she was here on the show during the Playboys versus Pokertropolis
No,
girls.
was she?
Yeah. What's her name?
My.
McDonough or something like that? I forget her first name.
She's smoking.
King 10, Ace 10, and Pocket 9s.
I mean, I had such a crush on her when I was like 12.
King 7, 10. Allen's got the best hand here with Ace 10 in seat 2. Tracy McDonough or McDonough or something like that.
Oh, I didn't realize that she was even still around.
Allen here, he's going to bet 85.
And he has the best hand.
Now, Carlos, he's going to lay down the second pair.
Imagine Michael's going to lay this down too.
You can take a look there at Allen with the Ace 10. Michael's really thinking about this one with Pocket 9s.
And that's not a good flop for nines. You got to look at it. Yeah, there's only 2 overcards, but they're kind of the playable overcards, you know? If I have 6s and it comes out, say, 7, 9,
Right.
deuce, okay, that's not that bad a flop, but when you have 9s, the flop comes out 10, jack. Now, I know Michael also has a gut shot.
He does have a gut shot to the 8, but he's not going to get involved.
Yeah.
And Allen's going to take it down.
I mean, you just don't know where you're at. I mean, does Allen have king, queen? Does Allen have an ace, jack? I mean, who knows? I mean, Allen could have 2 pair there. Who knows?
You're the only person I'm going after.
Big blind Gus today.
Button moves over here, seat 1.
Top pair with top kicker, and I'm gonna flop bottom 2 pair, and I'm gonna start laughing, and you're gonna go, what? I don't get it.
Button has moved over to seat 1. Small blind, $5. That's Allen's. Gus is the big blind. And Ross there throws his hand away. He was under the gun.
Limp here, King, Queen, then Ace, Queen. Seat 5 and seat 6.
Now, both king, queen, and ace, queen offsuit. By limping in, you're going to get a big pot. I mean, a multi-way pot. Those cards don't really play well multi-way, do they?
Well, seat 9 raised it to 20. Jack 4 of diamonds. Seat 5's going to call, and seat 1's going to call. 3-way action here. All spades on the flop. And no one has a... Well, Gary's got the nut flush draw. Ace, 7, 8. All spades. And again, you know, if you raise with racks, Dave, say Jack 4 of diamonds... Well, actually, you know what? Gary's going to beat him to the punch. He's gonna move all in for $10 here. Actually, $30. Okay. Well, Carlos here, he's got an ace. He does not have a spade in his hand in seat 6. Gary's moved all in. Carlos is really thinking about this one. He's going to call. George is out of there. So, Gary's going to need to catch a spade here. Going to say the pot's about $120. 2 cards to come. Here we go to the turn. There it is, Dave. There's the spade. And that's going to do it.
Yeah, another spade. Wow.
Another spade flush on the board. Of course, Gary's got the king of spades. He's going to take it down.
Well, at least Carlos can say that he lost money with a flush.
You ever seen a straight flush on the board? Or a royal flush on the board
On the
before?
board? No, I've never seen it on the board.
Again, we haven't seen in this game. We've had a couple of, I think, maybe two card royal flushes, or straight flushes, and I think it was against a full house in
Yeah,
one
my
of
straight
in the
flush.
whale game. And we've also never seen 3 flushes in one hand. You can think about how hard it is to make 3 flushes.
Now, we did have, actually, I remember there was one time, we actually did have 2 flushes,
Right.
plus somebody had folded a flush that we saw,
Right.
plus another person had the ace of that flush.
Right. Jim's got pocket aces. He's going to raise 25, and we're not going to see a flop.
And obviously, about, I want to say 3 Tuesdays ago when I played in the game, I had a straight flush against George Georgian,
I didn't have 7 deuce.
the Greek poker god.
I'm going to start calling him the Greek poker demigod, like before.
Hey,
Now
if
that he thinks I'm a donkey.
I was on a flush draw.
But moves over here to seat 3.
I wonder if there's any truth to the rumor that George Georgian and Nicole are dating.
You always wonder.
Yeah, you wonder.
Backdoor and around the corner. Second hand.
I mean, Nicole's really been dressing up lately.
Yeah.
I wonder who she's trying to impress.
Well, the last time we flipped over to the show, George was grabbing at her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey,
I watch him every time.
I don't start these rumors. I just respond to them. It's real interesting. Flop 8-7-5. Couple of spades out there.
Jim and Gary both have top pair.
And nobody else has much of anything. I mean, He-Man's got a second pair. Yeah.
He-Man's going to bet here with the second pair. Gets checked to him.
Now, Gary and Jim, neither one of them have any kind of kicker, really. So.
No.
And no redraw. I mean, neither player has a spade in his hands.
Well, Gary's going to check call here with the ace-3.
2 players.
But Jim's out of there.
Well, you can't make the overcall, can you?
Here we go to the turn. Turn's a 5. So our heads up, Gary against He-Man. Gary
Well,
checks.
that's one less hand. If you're Gary, you can't beat a 5 now, and you really can't beat any ace.
Well, it goes check down. The river's a
Well.
9. And Gary does have the best hand. And it looks like he's reaching for chips. And he's going to check here once again. And E-Man's going to come out and bet.
I don't think he's betting enough though to get Gary off the hand, is he?
Well, what does he think he has? Is he betting here because he thinks that he needs to bet off the best hand? I'm surprised that E-Man just didn't check. I mean, does he really think that he can bet here and get called by a hand that he beats? I mean, if the guy was on a busted flush draw, the guy's not going to call, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a hand that he would have that maybe he'd call, or maybe he's thinking he can get him off a weak ace.
Well,
But
could he also get him off of a hand that they would chop now? Because if the guy had something like 6-7, they would chop the pot, right?
Yeah,
The 9 would play. I don't know if saying if I give that guy that much credit,
I'm
but
with you on that. Yeah, I mean, can you get him off King 7?
Gary's really taking a while with this one.
I didn't think He-Man bet enough to get Gary off the hand, but
You
what do
gotta
I
think
know?
that He-Man thinks he's behind, right? Make this bet on the river?
Could be a stupid call, but I just have a feeling that 9's going to play and we're going to chop the spot.
Unless He-Man is trying to represent 6-8.
And he's going to get called. And He-Man knows he's beat, so there you go.
Yeah.
He knows he's beat.
And he was trying to represent. I just don't think he bet enough. I don't know if he had enough money. Actually, I want to say I don't know if Gary had enough money for He-Man to get him off the hand.
Again, it's just a thing where there really would be no reason to bet that if you thought you had the best hand, right, on the river? Because I just don't think.
I mean, I'm always proponent.
If you thought you had the best hand, I know
I'm
you
still
say.
proponent. There
Yeah.
is value to not showing your hand down.
Right.
If people see that you're willing to bet second pair for value, well then, hey, your bluffs have that much more merit later on.
Yep.
Oh, wait, I'm small.
Game both cards, that's it. Tip off.
I mean, it's just something that I've seen time and time again in No Limit, where people on the river are generally only betting their monsters or betting a bluff. They don't bet marginal hands.
5 players.
Limped around here. 5-way action. Ace 8-6.
Gus has outflopped them both.
And he's going to bet 20 here, Gus is. if anyone can call here.
Nah, nobody's got anything, do they?
Nope.
Take it down, Gus.
And there it is. Gus takes
Gus
it down.
adds more chips to his stack. Once again, if you have any questions or comments, please email us at liveatthebike.com. Try to keep the show as interactive as possible.
You never do wear I was looking at Seed 8 sunglasses. You never do wear sunglasses, do you, Dave?
You know what?
At the table.
I never used to, and then I went down to the World Series. The first time I went to the World Series was 2004, and I misread one of my cans. And ever since then, I've kind of. I'll never
You mean
wear
you
them.
did? You mean
I
you
used
did
them for a
before.
tournament. I was
I
like,
thought you
oh,
said you never.
No,
used
I
them.
never used to in a cash game. And then I said, you know, for a tournament, the World Series, I'll put them on. I'll look cool.
Oh,
and I put them
see.
on,
Oh.
and then I misread a hand, and I was so mad at myself. So I don't wear them.
Misread a suit, you mean, or something like
Yeah.
that? $25 raise here.
It was so
Seat
damn
3.
dark, you know what I mean? I mean, it was already dark inside, and then I put these sunglasses on. I couldn't see a damn thing.
Do that. We got to switch to blue blockers.
80.
Wow, and Jim's going to re-raise to 80 here out of the blind. Pocket fours. Gus raised it up to 25. Michael called.
And Jim's re-raised it?
Yeah, Jim's re-raised here to 80 with pocket fours.
This is one of those times again with Jim, though. Now, I don't mind the re-raise, but it's more of a tournament move where you want to take it down pre-flop because there's a lot of antes and blinds and so forth.
Right.
But in a cash game, I mean, don't I want to see a flop with fours so I can possibly win a big, big pot?
Well, I think he's playing it the other way around. He just wants to take down the dead money. And everybody folds. Button's going to move over there to... So Jim takes it down there. Button moves over to seat 6. There it is. Big blinds in seat 8.
And look at
this. It's Nicole and Hav.
Yeah, I think she's cheating on George, obviously. But George is right next to her.
25.
Well, she makes her way around, huh?
Yeah. What a flirt.
Ace King suited here for seat 6. Seat 4 raised, and seat 6 just calls here. He's just going to make the smooth call. Seat 4 here. First time we've seen him raise pre-flop. He's got pocket 7s. Carlos just with the smooth call.
Watch your money. Watch your money.
And Gus in there with 5-6. I don't think he's going to call this, is he? It's only $20 more. He's pretty deep. Yeah, he's not going to call.
And here we go. We're heads up. 9-8-4. Pretty good flop for 7s.
Yeah, those overcards obviously not nearly as scary as, say, Queen Jack.
35.
It's a $35 bet here by Ross.
Yeah, and look at and Carlos is already giving his hand away as he shakes his head. I don't mind the laydown.
Well, one of the other things, though, too, is that, if you're Carlos, if you notice about Ross, you could probably have got him off that hand by re-raising pre-flop. Now, the only thing is that, Carlos might not be deep enough where Ross might be like, well, hey, I'm in a race. Kind of really getting it down to the basics of a restricted buying game like we see in the 200 and the 100, where you just gamble it up right when you're around that rebuy period, or where they allow you to rebuy.
Right.
You just kind of gamble it up, if you're getting more than 1-to-1 with a pocket pair, you're just like, you know what, I'll just...
Give it a shot. What am I going to do?
Right. And that's why I think you like this game better, and I like this game better, or just the unrestricted, because it takes that gamble away from it. You can just start off that way. You don't have to...
Right, well, this game is restricted, but with 5 blinds,
Right.
and I buy into 500, I've got 100 times the big blind right away.
Right.
I've got enough to really play poker. I mean, the fact that it's unrestricted doesn't really... The fact that it's restricted doesn't really play into it.
Right.
Obviously, I prefer even the unrestricted. I prefer the 5-10 game. But
Yes.
Gus raised here with ace-jack.
is Gus getting a continuation here? A little continuation bet?
Well, he's in position. He should. Flop comes out 8-7-8.
Well, you know what? If you raise pre-flop and a flop like that comes out and your head's up, you've got to assume that your hand is probably still the best hand. The likelihood of your opponent
Well, he
hitting it is slim.
checked here, and now an ace comes on the turn. Kim's going to check again, and now Gus is going to bet.
45.
I mean, I could say is Gus checking the flop there to induce a bluff, but I don't think so.
Thank you, Gus. So you want to take the big one? All right.
Well, what would he have done if the guy had bet, if an ace hadn't come on the turn? USC superfan there in seat 5. Button's going to be in
20.
seat 8 this time. Seat 2's going to raise it up to 20. That's Allen.
I apologize.
Looks like it's 7-4 of diamonds. And Gus has got ace-jack again. This time it's suited. Let's see what he's going to do. He's got raising chips in his hand. It looks like he's cutting out some chips here.
Player for hand, please.
And he is going to re-raise.
60.
Going to make it 60. Ace-jack suited. And I won't even imagine that Allen's probably going to call. He opened it with 7-4 of diamonds, probably just trying to open the game up here. He doesn't really have enough in front of him. And that's what he's talking to. Well, he's going to call. He's going to gamble it up here. He only has maybe 300 in front of him. Here we go, heads up. Ace 8-6. Allen checked blind. He picked up a gut shot, but Gus has got top pair. And Gus is going to bet.
As much as 80.
He's going to bet 80. Hey, Allen can't call this, can he? I mean, maybe he thinks maybe he can check raise Gus all in. If Gus doesn't have an ace, he would lay it down. I just don't buy it, though. Let's see what he's going to do. I mean, when we talk about fold equity, I mean, would Gus lay down kings or queens here if Allen check raised all in? Pot's about $200 if Allen moved, say, you know, for another 100 or so. Would Gus lay that hand down? Allen just has to draw. And he's going to get rid of it. I think Gus showed him a jack. Now he's going to show the ace-jack. And he's going to take it down there. Seat 4. That's Ross. I think it's the first time he's ever played on the show. Is the guy ever going to play a hand? I mean, he raised there with pocket sevens. Routinely folding ace-jack offsuit to any type of raises. Ace-jack suited to any types of raises. Not necessarily, you know, a bad thing, but on a table like this, boy, I think sometimes you can just raise in position, take control of the hand. Although he did do that a couple of rounds ago, a couple of orbits ago with 9-5 offsuit on the button. And he got bluffed off the hand by seat 9. And the button moves over here to seat 9. As seat 8 picks up an ace-queen offsuit. SP Surfing Michael over there has got a king-queen offsuit in seat 7. He's dominated. See if he's going to open here for a raise in seat 7. This is a pretty tight table, so I wouldn't be surprised in mid to late position if he's going to raise. And he is.
25.
Makes it 25 to go. Let's see how seat 8's going to play it. Interesting, he re-raised out of the blinds with pocket fours, but he's just going to call with ace-queen here on the cutoff. And here we go.
Yeah, I mean, I almost would rather see a flop of fours than I would with ace-queen, but let's see what happens.
10-7 deuce.
Now, is Michael going to continue the bet here? He
No,
knows the
went
pre-flop
check,
raising.
check.
Wow.
Turns an ace, and oh boy. Now Jim's hit it. And again, Michael never used that ace, Dave. I mean, we saw it with King Jack before as well. I mean, if you're checking the flop, like, oh, I've got high cards, and then the guy checks right behind you, you would think you might try to put an effort in on the ace. But
I mean, some people will raise out of the cutoff seat or one before the cutoff seat to buy themselves the button. And if somebody calls them,
they'll just shut down.
they'll shut down because they're kind of like, you know what, I want to be in position.
Right.
You know, in that case, Michael was out of position against Jim. Or
Look
Die
at
Hard.
this email here from Ryan Wellings. He says, longtime addict to your show, wants to see Bart play. When is this going to happen? Well, I've actually played on the show multiple times. If you have a subscription in the archives, you can check it out. The other thing, Dave, was I was supposed to play Corporation Mike Heads Up.
Yeah, when is that going to happen?
But then Shirley made the announcement that she wasn't going to be doing the show anymore, and that was going to be on that Tuesday, the last night of her commentary.
I think you guys should still do it. I'll do the commentary by myself. I'll bring in George.
Well, there you go.
Me and George will do commentary. Or actually, I'll bring in Mo.
Six-way action. Well, I would tend to take the commentary from Mo a little bit more seriously. 4-8-5. C2's going to bet 20 here.
Now, Jim has got, now C2, Alan's got top pair, but Jim has top pair, top kicker.
That's right.
Let's see how he plays it. And he's got position on Alan as well.
He's just going to call. Well, Alan's got a gut shot to the 6 here, too. He can catch actually a 7 or a 6. Would be good for him right now. Turns a queen. That's no help.
Yeah. Now, Alan checks, and you think Jim's going to throw a little bet in here. I think Jim needs to bet this here.
All right. He's going to give Alan the free card.
You got to know your hand is probably best there.
River's a 10.
10 of spades, backdoor spade draw, but nobody has a spade in their hand. Imagine Alan's going to check this.
And now Jim just...
And Jim checks too. And once again, this points out, see, you're checking the river on a marginal hand.
Right.
He also checked the turn with a marginal hand. I mean, he could have definitely raised the flop. When he chooses not to raise the flop and your opponent checks into you on the flop, on the turn, you almost have to throw a little bet and protect your hand. Don't let your opponent get that for free.
Button moves over here to seat 2. Gus has got an ace-queen here in the small blind. The way he's been playing tonight, I guarantee he's going to raise this up out of the small blind. Unless it's going to get raised before him. Well,
yeah, Michael's got ace-king, so Michael might raise this up, and he is.
25.
Going to make it 25 to go. That's been his standard raise all night.
Well, as long as he keeps betting 25 each time, that'll be okay.
T9's going to call here with king 10 offsuit. Allen's in there. He's got pocket deuces. And let's see if Gus is just going to call here.
And Allen's calling with pocket deuces, which is okay, but I don't know if he has enough money to call a $25 raise.
Well, does he have 250 in front of him there? I guess it's close.
And I guess in this case he has 4 or 5 callers, so he's already getting 4 or 5 to 1 right away.
5 players.
5-way action. 125 here. Now, Gus is in kicker problems if that ace comes out, although C5 also has an ace, so...
Well, how about a queen, though?
Jack 5. It's got top pair. Now, king 10's open-ended over there in seat 9.
Yeah, that's a nice way to be open-ended because it is a rainbow board. Once again, the flop is king, queen, jack 10.
And Gus...
I'm sorry, queen, jack 5.
Dave,
rainbow.
Gus checked it from up front. Is he looking for the check raise? The interesting thing, though, is if people paying attention, Michael hasn't bet flops that haven't hit him, though.
Yeah.
And look at this. It gets checked around. And the turn's a king, and there it is.
Now, this is interesting. George now has top pair with an open-ended straight draw. And Michael...
Look at Gary with a
top
flush,
pair, top kicker.
with a nut flush draw and a pair. It's going to get checked over to Michael, and he's going to bet 75. Again, I mean, you can pick your spots when you're going to check raise, right? I mean, Michael hasn't been betting flops that haven't hit him.
Well, you got to be smart. There's 5 people in there. If your opponent has missed it, are they really going to bet that? Scary board, queen, jack 5.
King 10's out of there. He folded.
Really?
Yeah.
Who was that?
Seat 9.
George just open fold and he didn't bet the king 10 and they just folds it. Wow. I mean, how big is the pot now? I mean, we're looking at a $125 pot. What was the bet by Michael here?
75. It's a $200 pot.
$200 pot, 75 to call.
King 10 could have really taken control of that hand by betting the flop there in late position. He probably would have
definitely.
taken it down. Well, he wouldn't have taken it down. Gus would have probably made a check raise. Gus is not going to get involved, but Gary, again, he's got a pair and a flush draw. If he hit his ace, it wouldn't be good. He could hit a 5 or a heart here, or a 10 would chop. And he's trying to figure out how much money he has here.
Maybe that's why George folded with 2 hearts out there. He just said, you know what, I don't need to get involved with this. Somebody could easily have 2 pair on me.
It's a $200 pot, 75 to call. The problem is Gary doesn't have that much left. What's his move here? If he moves all in, Michael's going to have to call. He just calls. Pot is now 275. Michael's going to need to dodge some cards here going to the river. And the river is an ace, and both players make aces up. Now,
maybe you can't. Neither player can like it, though.
A 10 would be straight, right?
This might go check, 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 to be honest with you.
Can you really put Michael on a 10, though, Dave, the way that the hand played out? I mean, he checked the flop. He bet the turn.
You almost hope that he has, like, king, jack.
It's just going to go check here.
And once again, you see this a very strong hand. We have two players with aces up,
Right.
but with a board like that, nobody even bets the river. So if somebody bets a board like that, if we leave that board up for 1 second, if somebody bets at me on the river there, to me they're either bluffing or they have the 10.
Well, wouldn't that have been a perfect spot for seat 5 to just put his money in there and hope that maybe he gets something to lay down like ace-king in that spot, knowing that your hand's probably not good? Or I guess maybe his hand was strong enough, Dave, where he thought he could just win it in a showdown.
Yeah, that might have been the way he was looking at it.
I mean, if you put the guy on ace-king, which a lot of people do, and the way that the hand played out, it was a pretty good chance that that's what he had. Ace-king.
Right, can he lay it down? He only, I want to say Gary only had about $100
Well, he was
left.
going to bet $100 into a pot that was
$275.
$275, so the pot would have been $375, $100 a call. Mike's got to figure, could the guy be on a busted flush draw as opposed to a 10 here, one out of, almost 4 times, right?
Exactly.
So he probably would have called.
I would imagine so. I mean, I think Gary did the right thing, so checking it down and hoping that, Michael had king queen or something like that.
Four-way action.
You can't win every hand.
Deuce 5-10 with a couple of diamonds. Ace 10 over there for seat 8. Got the best hand.
Interesting email here from Richard Shaw. We'll get to in 1 second. And Jim's going to bet this. I don't think anybody's going to call, right?
No.
And the email actually, good evening, guys. I just wanted to say you guys are doing a great job and that I would much rather watch this online show than the edited shows on TV. Keep up the good work. Richard the Englishman Shaw. He also wants to let us know that he once won a pot against the Devilfish. Well, thanks for dropping a line, Richard.
Shaw, fine English name. Isn't that an Irish name, Shaw? No?
Bernard Shaw.
You mean the guy from CNN?
Yeah. Just thinking aloud. I don't know. Now, Richard, obviously, if you are in England and you're listening to us, you can actually watch us on the Poker Channel. Look for the LA Poker Scene.
Sky Satellite. I think it's
268.
You sure?
No.
Sky Satellite. 226, I think. Or you can just go to the pokerchannel.co.uk.
Exactly, and find it.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's our show, but edited down
Right.
to about a 90-minute version.
Right. There's Nicole.
What does Nicole do here? I mean, she works here, right? What does she do? Just walks around and smiles.
Some would say the same thing about you, Dave.
What am I doing right now?
C4.
I'm a supervisor.
C4 has the button.
Make sure things are going okay.
Kitchen and food consultant.
Exactly. 15. I applied for that job. I suppose I got turned down, though.
Three-way action here. Limped around. Look at this.
10-9-5, couple of diamonds.
King 9 of diamonds.
Yeah,
Pretty
wow.
nice hand.
Big flop for Gary there. He's got...
And he checked it from up front.
Well, okay.
Got checked around.
Well, he's got the best hand already.
Turns to 7. Now 3-4 of hearts picks up a heart draw. Jack 9's got a straight draw.
Alan has picked up the straight draw. The flush drop, sorry. And Carlos has now moved all in.
Well, it got checked to him twice, Dave. Maybe he figures he has the best hand.
You know, you wonder if Gary is still, still upset about the USC National Championship game.
And he's thinking about it here. I mean, this pot was limped around. It's a $40 bet here.
I don't know how you check the flop with that kind of board. You have King 9 of diamonds. What are you looking for? Hit.
He's going to call. And Carlos would need to catch, what, an 8 that's not a diamond or a jack that's not a diamond here, right? And the river is a 7, and King 9 is good.
Yeah. They both have 9s and 7s.
Right.
And Gary has a king kicker. Carlos has a jack kicker. Hold'em is a game of kickers, folks.
Carlos has gone bust. Down to felt, as they say.
Once again, though, like every cash game, unlike a tournament, you can rebuy, and that's what looks like Carlos is going to do. You can get up whenever you want to. You can play as much as you want.
guess he's doing a short buy for $45, Dave. You're allowed one short buy in between each time you do a full buy, right?
Yes, you are. I don't quite understand the purpose of it. I mean, to me, you really want to have a lot of chips in a game like this. You can use that big chip stack to really push around and bully your opponents. And when you're buying for a short amount, like $45, you really give yourself, you put yourself at the short end here.
Button moves over here to seat 5. Get a $20 raise here, I believe, by seat 9, ace 10 of hearts. And seat 4 is finally going to play a hand. It's got 6-7 off suit. And we're going to see this one 4 ways. $80 pot. Seat 9 brought it in with ace 10 of hearts. Here we go. Queen 3-10. Looks like he's picked up the best hand here. And he's going to bet 50.
And there's one heart out there. He's got backdoor heart draw as well, my second pair. I don't think anybody has even a snip of anything here. I mean, Gus has got backdoor hearts as well, obviously in a gut shot, but he's got the bottom end of the gut shot.
George there in seat 9 is going to take it down.
I don't mind calling raises with 8-9, but if you call a raise with 8-9, you don't want to hit the 10 Jack Queen straight.
Right.
Obviously, a lot of players will raise with Ace King, and you will get the ass end of that straight and lose a lot of money.
The ass end of the straight, huh?
It's always
Exactly.
good to have a goal.
Once again, we are live at the bike, folks. Trying to keep it real here. Politically incorrect. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen. We're playing No Limit Hold'em. Blinds are 5 and 5 tonight. And look at this pocket kings for seat 9. George Mosher there with pocket kings.
There you go. John E on 2+2 says Julie McCullough? Is that how you pronounce it? McCulloch from.
Yeah, you really gotta get the phlegm in your voice when you say it.
Yeah.
Maybe she's Jewish.
Wow, seat 9's got pocket kings here.
Now seat 1, and I guess I got checked around because we're seeing this pot like, this is 8 ways, folks.
8-way action here. Queen 9-5 on the board with a couple of diamonds.
Yeah. Now seat 1 has top pair with backdoor club draw. That's He-Man. And seat 9 has an overpair with kings without the club at all. No club at all. Or no diamonds, obviously.
And George is going to check raise all in here.
Yes.
He played it slow. He was trying to limp re-raise with pocket kings. And I was going to say, on this type of table, you don't even know if the raise is going to come. And it didn't come. And he's committed a good amount of his chips here.
Yeah, and can He-Man get away from it? Does He-Man have enough chips to get away from it here with top pair? I mean, is George the type of player that would semi-bluff, would say, ace, jack of diamonds?
Well, He-Man can't beat a real queen either here, right?
No, he can't. All he can beat is say, a semi-bluff. King, jack of diamonds, something like that. Ace, 5 of diamonds.
On a side note, you kind of squeeze that in. You yourself are Jewish, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Just wanted to clear that out for everyone.
Isn't that the rule? If you're English, you can make fun of the English. If you're Jewish, you can make fun of the English. I mean, the Jewish. So forth.
And he's going to call. He makes the call. Well, now he's picked up a flush draw and a straight draw.
No, that's
No, it's not going to come.
Yeah, the 7 of clubs on the turn obviously gave him a lot of outs.
Picked up
any 8, any 6,
lot of
or
outs.
any club. Or any queen. Wow, he had a lot of outs there. 9 clubs, 3 additional 8s. 3 additional 6s. And 2 more queens. What is that quickly?
How many outs is that?
8, 9, 17. We were looking at like 19 outs going to the river.
It's a lot of outs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if he had 19 outs on the flop, he'd actually be a favorite.
Oh, obviously, with 2 cards to come.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
19 outs with only 1 card to come,
Yeah.
obviously. Still an underdog, but not in bad shape at all.
Where's Denny Williams? Somebody was speculating.
There's actually a tournament tonight. We have our
He's still
We
the
have our-
tournament director here. He just doesn't happen to do the show that much anymore.
we have a $50 tournament tonight. One rebuy, one optional rebuy. He's doing that. $50 no limit hold'em tournament tonight.
Right.
Starts at 7 o'clock at night.
$60 raise here out of the small blind with ace queen. Limp.
Yeah, Jim really mixes up his game. Sometimes he smooth calls with ace queen, and then sometimes he'll raise it.
And he's going to take it down.
Again,
Again,
I like to raise out of position.
I understand the play, Dave, with the overpair. If you're at a really, really aggressive table and you know somebody's going to raise.
Right.
But pocket kings, boy, aces and kings only come around once in a while. In this table, I'm going to put some money in there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess some people, some people figure they want to gamble a little bit and they're willing to, risk their stack and go for it. But you don't want to go broke on an unlimped pot, unraised pot.
Unlipped pot.
Got like a shoe in my mouth tonight.
Yeah, $5 from last time.
Limp.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, can you at least make your NFC predictions tonight?
That's for previous hand.
Let's go on here. So for you, we got Washington Redskins at Seattle. Who's going to win that game?
I like Washington, Dave. What do you think
You
about
said
that?
Washington. Okay, wow.
I get, of course, plus the 420.
Four players.
Limped around. I like the price. Jack 10-6 here. Ross is open-ended.
Jim is open-ended as well.
He-Man's got second pair.
15.
And Ross is going to bet here 15.
Now Jim is open-ended with the backdoor diamond draw.
And Jim is going to raise.
Another 50.
He's going to raise it here with his draw, another 50.
65 total.
Makes it 65 total.
Now is Ross just throws it away.
Yeah.
Great semi-bluff here by Jim. I think he's going to take this down. He does. Great semi-bluff there. On the button, in position, raising with his draw, and he takes it down without even hitting it. Now, had he gotten called, obviously, depending on what card came on the turn, he can then decide what to do then.
Right.
Take the free card if he wants the free card, or bet again and try to get his opponent off the hand.
Button moves over here to seat 9. King, queen suited over here in the small blind.
And then we've got the Carolina Panthers traveling to Chicago Bears.
I like the Bears.
The
How about
Bears.
a Bears-Patriots rematch in the Super Bowl? 20 years
The
later.
Bears.
25.
Then the Patriots could beat them 46-10. Gus is going to raise here to 25, and we have some fairly decent hands here. Queen Jack is going to call in seat 5. Pocket 10's on the button. See what he's going to do. He's just going to call.
Wow, and King Queen of Hearts in seat 1, He-Man.
He calls.
He's going to call. And you wonder, is that going to get Gus in there with ace 3 of diamonds? And yes, he's going to call as well.
Well, Gus is the raiser.
Oh,
4-way action.
what do I know? $100 pot.
Queen Jack Deuce, and look at this. Gary's flop top 2 pair.
Now, is
He-Man
He-Man
going to get in
yeah.
trouble?
He-Man's got top pair. No redraw possibility, obviously, with 2 spades out there.
75.
And Gus is going to bet here with the ace 3. And Gary moves all in instantly.
It's never a good sign that when a guy moves all in, before you even put your chips out there.
Right. And Gary hasn't really made any moves here
I mean,
tonight.
Gus is still counting at the 75.
Remember how long it took him to call there with the king 9 of diamonds about 15 minutes ago, right?
Yeah.
Well, will this save He-Man? A bet by the pre-flop raiser and an all-in in between.
And it was an immediate all-in. I mean, it wasn't even like a thought process.
Looks like 145, so it's pretty much almost like a mini raise, Dave, to 145, 150.
Can you possibly put Gary on a hand worse than King Queen right now?
The pot's 325. It's about 145 to call.
Get a shot at Gary there. See how quick he moved there. I mean, I bet he was totally comfortable, relaxed.
I can't see his face, all that red.
I mean, this is one of those times, though.
No, he's
the
gonna
guy
get rid
moved
of
all in. Well, think about it. You can't beat Queen Jack. You can't beat Ace Queen. You can beat Queen 10. Do you really think, Gary's making this move with Ace Queen? And Gus is obviously not going to play this hand. He's just kind of doing this for the camera, I think.
Well, it's 75 back to him here.
Pot's now 275 to call.
It's about, actually the pot's 325, 75 to
okay.
call. So that's why you might be figuring, well, if I hit my ace here, could I be good?
You can't
325,
call
75 to call. It's, he's getting, what, maybe 5 to 1 or so? No, maybe 4.5 to 1.
Yeah, sometimes you got to throw odds out the window, though, and just go, there's no way I'm beat here. Throw it away.
Backdoor diamonds. Getting about 4 to 1, 4.5 to 1 with 2 cards to come.
I mean, he was the pre-flop raiser. I think he's just trying to save face here.
Well, I don't necessarily know if it's in an automatic laydown like you're saying with the math, though. Take a look at it, though. 325, 75 to call. If he thinks his ace is... You would need to be beat here. You would need to basically be, what, more than an 80% underdog not to call?
Yeah, but you don't even know if your ace is good. I mean, what does this guy
No, of course.
have?
You're right, but he's going to make the call.
I mean, remember, this was Gary, who barely called with King 9 of diamonds.
Well, it's over now.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, I
it.
think you're just throwing money away there. I don't care pot odds or whatever there. I mean, what do you think? What do you think Gary's moving all in with? I mean, it was immediate. I mean, that was really strong. I mean, do you think he's making the move with what? King Queen?
I told you, didn't I? As soon as I laid it down, I said, here comes the turn card.
I guess that's really all you can hope for there, King
Yeah,
Queen.
you're hoping for King Queen and then some.
Obviously, Ace Queen, you're in big trouble.
Ace Queen, you're dead basically.
Yeah.
Ace, you know.
Set, you're dead. Stuff like that. But I'm just trying to defend Gus a little
Yeah,
bit.
I mean, I think there are just some times where you can take a shot at it, which is what Gus did. That's fine. And then sometimes if you look at the pot odds of the pot, you can just go, you know what though? I don't care if it's only $10 more. I'm beat.
Well, yeah, but you still have to go through your. I mean, the reason why you wouldn't make the call in that spot is because you would be more than a 75 to 80% dog against what that guy would go all in with. But you still got to put the guy in a range of hands, though.
Yeah, I mean, I know you do. I guess it's a formality in a sense, in a case like that. I mean, to me, if that guy put in $30 more than I had, I just don't want to give away money. No point in giving it away.
5-way action here. Pocket Jacks just limped in seat 6. Carlos, he did it before, and he's got overpair. 7-5-9 here.
Bet 20.
Seat 3 is going to bet 20.
40.
And he has 10-6, by the way.
20.
And seat 6 is moved all in here. It was a bet here by, I believe it was a bet by.
Right, now this is a different case. It was bet by Gus, actually,
Yeah.
10-6. Now this is a different case because you go, okay, even if my opponent does have a set of 9s, it's not much more money. And
Right.
if I catch my 8, at least I have the straight, and it's the high end of the straight.
He's got backdoor spades here, too. Turns a 4. Now he's open-ended.
Yep.
And the river's a queen, but Carlos is going to take it down. And there it is.
I mean, I was just thinking of the last hand where literally he's got no pair, no draw. And it's kind of like you're in there just kind of hoping and praying.
Praying.
There's a little Buddha belly on seat
Yep.
4. Rub the Buddha belly. Pray to the Buddha belly.
Well, if you're 4 to 1, again, you know, sometimes you have to convert ratios into your
Right.
head. Into your head in terms of percentages. If you're 4 to 1, if the pot is laying you 4 to 1, you have to be beat 80% of the time.
Right.
Right. Now, if the pot's laying you 5 to 1, what does that translate to? About, say,
83 point
83.
something, like 83.667 or something like that.
We got a raise here. Seat 5, ace queen. Seat 8's going to call.
Two players.
And we are heads up. Here we go to the flop. Jack 10-7. Jim actually outflopped of him, but Gary's got overcards and a gut shot.
Yeah. Now, Gary does not have a club in his hand, so.
Bet 20.
He's going to bet 20 here, kind of a weak bet.
See if Jim senses the weakness and throws in a raise.
He's going
No,
to call.
just calls.
Here we go to the turn. Turns a 6, and now Jim has 2 pair.
20.
And Gary's going to put another weak bet in here. And you'd think that Jim's going to raise now, right?
You'd imagine, I mean, I mean, that to me, a lot of people always ask me, hey, can you pick up on tells? And obviously you can pick up on tells, but some of the biggest tells you can pick up on is somebody's betting patterns. And you look at Gary's betting patterns here. He bets 20 into about a $60 pot,
And now
then
he's
he bets
gonna raise.
20 into a $100 pot.
Yep.
And it really suggests weakness here.
60 more.
$60 more here. And he's still thinking about it here, Dave. And he's going to let it go. And Jim's going to take it down there. And there it is.
Two pair.
And he showed the 2 pair, and the button moves over here to seat 4. And actually, Gus has the button in seat 3.
Small blind, big blind there. And I want to say Carlos is under the gun. He's first to act. And
Pocket Kings over here for seat 8. And seat 7's going to have a little mini race here with Queen 10 of Diamonds. And seat 8's going to come hard over the top to 100 with Pocket Kings.
well, he's going to take it down. It's really hard to win a lot of, and I noticed my own no limit game when I would play tournaments early on in my career. I would really raise big pre-flop because I was almost scared to play flops, and I found that I would survive, and I would win pots like these because obviously people would fold, but I would never accumulate a lot of chips because I wasn't seeing flops.
So you almost want to price somebody in and get that hand hands up.
Well, I mean, in that case there, it's like, I mean, I bet so much there, I'm not going to get called unless there's a complete maniac at the table. Now, Michael there in seat 7 has not been a maniac.
Right, he's not.
And he's certainly not going to call $85 raise with anything short of maybe queens.
Right.
And he might not even call with queens, who knows?
You guys like these right here?
Button's going to move over there to seat 4. Limp in here by seat 8 with ace 8 offsuit.
I mean, I'm just saying, I mean, there are a lot of times, I've seen a lot of people that just first start playing no limit hold'em, they're scared to play flops. They really just want to end everything pre-flop. And, you know, as you develop your no limit game, obviously, you can't be scared to play post-flop.
Seat 3 here, 10-4 offsuit. He made it 25, Gus. Seat 8's going to call. So Gus is raising it in position again with garbage, and we're heads up. And he hits 2 pair. Or is that a... Yeah, 2 pair. 10-4 jack.
It is.
We're ace 8 against 10-4 here. He's got bottom 2 pair.
Now bet it. You got to bet it because everybody's expecting you to bet it.
Well, remember, when he flopped trips, he didn't bet it. Now this hand is a little bit different because even heads up, Dave, you don't... I mean, there are a lot of cards that can come on the turn that will either kill all the action or you might be beaten, right?
Yeah.
Jack 10-4 or a couple clubs.
One of the reasons also, if you raise in late position with garbage and you hit your hand, one of the reasons you want to bet it is because people are expecting you to bet it, and they might be waiting to check raise.
We're going to take a look at another chip count.
Yeah, Gus still there up in the lead with 800. Jim up there at 700 there. Carlos down at the bottom, only 100, and he's actually rebought. He-Man with that 200 there. Not a lot of movement so far, to be honest with you. You know what I mean, though? I mean, let's say you've got trips, and the other player thinks you missed the flop, and they're going to make a move on you. But by checking, you don't allow them to make that move.
Button's in seat 5.
20.
Seat 4 is going to raise here. He's got pocket 6s. He makes it 20 to go.
And I don't know if he's going to get any callers. Is Jim going to call this with Jack 8 offsuit?
Yeah, I did call.
He did call, okay.
So our heads up. He's got overcards. Here we go to the flop.
2 players.
Well, ace, deuce, 8, couple hearts. Let's see how Ross is going to play it, make the continuation bet. Look at that, Dave. He checks right behind it. Wow.
Yeah, heads up, you can't check that.
Turns a heart.
You're basically giving this pot away. And you think Jim knows he's good now?
25.
I mean, was Ross just raising there to steal the blinds, and then he was just going to shut down?
I mean, if you're raising just because you think, well, I've got sixes, if I don't hit my six, I'm going to shut down.
Well, wait a minute. C8's betting 25. Ross is going to raise.
Wow.
He's going to raise to 75.
Almost as if he's representing a huge hand, like a set of aces or something, or you know, maybe a made flush or something. He figured he'd take the free card with like king, queen of hearts or something like that.
Now, the problem for him there is if Jim is stubborn, he may call because he has the 8 of hearts in his hand. I think it would be a bad call, but oftentimes you'll see players do it. And then if it just gets checked down in a showdown, he's going to win.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like
Oh,
Ross's.
he's going to fold.
I didn't like Ross's flop play, but I got to give him credit. I mean, he made a great turn raise there.
Thank you.
Takes it down. What do you think about that earring, Dave, in the upper lobe left-hand ear there? It's got to hurt, man. Jeez.
Oh, wow, I didn't see that. That's cool. Okay. Hey, man, to each their own.
My dad told me if I ever had an earring, he would take the earring and pull it off, literally, out of the ear. Like pull my ear off.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
You're not like you're not a big. You're never like an earring or a tattoo guy, huh?
No.
No. Okay.
25.
C1's going to raise here to 25 with ace,
Did you ever like
queen.
dye your hair blue or anything like that? No.
Did have frosty tips one time, though.
Frosty tips. The old frosty tips.
Seat 5's going to call.
Oh, 3 players.
Ace 5 offsuit.
3 players, $25 a pop, $75 to the flop.
Seat 8's in there with Jack 9. The flop comes 7, 4, 5. And look at this. Ace 5's outflopped everyone.
Check.
Is Gary gonna bet it?
Nope. In position, too. Turns a Jack. And now Jim has the best hand.
I mean, you really think somebody's checking an overpair to you?
Jim comes out and he bets here with Jack 9.
I mean, the whole point of being in position is you don't necessarily need a hand to take down the pot. Now, if you actually have a pair and it gets checked to you, I mean, some people can argue that I give people a lot of opportunity to check raise me. But if I have any piece of the flop and it gets checked to me, I will bet almost 90% of the time. I will naively think I have the best hand and take a shot at it.
Button moves over here to seat 7.
Blinds up.
Oh, wait, there was 8.
Limp here under the gun. And we've got 5-way action. It's a $25 pot.
35 more.
And we have a raise here. Out of the small blind here for $25. And Gus.
Gus is going to re-raise here
Yeah.
with garbage.
Queen 8 offsuit. Maybe he's... And Jim's going to call. And here we're going to actually see some play in this hand. Jim has been coming over the top in that spot in the small blind. He's done it 2 or 3 times, and Gus doesn't buy it. He's going to pull the limp re-raise, and Jim calls.
You know, it's funny.
And
Jim,
Gus hits top pair, but Jim's got second pair.
You know, it's funny. Jim, every other time Jim has actually had a hand, this is the first time Jim didn't have anything.
75.
And Gus is going to put out 75, and Jim instantly calls. And we've got like a $400 pot here. What looked like just kind of a small limped pot.
Well, these are the only 2 players that have really mixed it up today.
Oh, and Jim spikes 2 pair on the turn.
Wow.
And he moves all in.
And I love the overbet. I love it.
He moves all in.
He was trying to say that you should put some chips in.
Yeah, put some chips and show camera.
Oh, wow. And you know, Jim actually gave up a little bit of a tell there because he and Gus folds. You know, Gus asked Jim, I guess, to move his chips in, and then, you know, Jim thought that Gus said call, and he got all excited. He went to turn over his cards, and that was easy for Gus to muck
Yeah.
there. Got to sometimes keep your excitement in your composure together, right?
But once again, you see him. He verbally said, "I'm all in."
Right.
And we see that all the time. That a lot of times that signifies strength because you're not expecting to have to, lose your chips. You figure, I'll just leave him here.
Right.
You're not trying to intimidate your opponent. I like the overbet though. I got to tell you, for some reason these guys started getting a little, in a little battle, kind of a testosterone battle there. You wonder if maybe Gus would have taken it personal and called him with just a queen.
Well, you got to wonder though, could the guy have check raised on the turn? I mean, it's kind of like the other thing too is that if Gus had nothing, he was going to fold.
Right.
But you might actually give him a chance to bluff at it one more time.
One more
if he does
time, yeah.
Something on the turn.
Always an argument for that.
King jacks, pocket threes, heads up here. And it goes check, check, and these twos are at it again. Board's all rags, and Gus is going to come out and bet 30.
See if Jim calls this. Can't think the 6 actually helped him, can you?
And he's going to take it down.
Yeah, he's going to pick his spots better.
Thank you.
Turn was a 9 of spades. And Jim actually would have ended up with the best hand there, but nice bet by Gus. Takes it down. Once again, we are live at the bike, folks. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hanson. You're watching No Limit Hold'em. Blinds are 5 and 5. If you have any questions for us, please email us at liveatthebike.com. We'd love to read them. Try to keep the show as interactive as possible.
Couple king queens here. $20 raise here by Mike with the queen 10. And king queen called. And the other king queen called. So SP Surf and Michael there. Actually, you know what? He's got the king queen. Seat 6 has got the queen 10. So 3 of the queens are dead. 5-way action. It's about a $100 pot. Here we go. 7-7-4. Now again, Michael hasn't led really with a lot of continuation bets here, Dave. If he did, he probably would take it down here.
Yeah, if he throws out a nice $80 bet here, he could take it down. But look at that little weak bet. I mean, he's got to bet like
35 into a $100 pot.
Yeah, and that just screams, I'm weak, I'm scared.
Now, Jim has got a gut shot. He's not even getting involved. The funny thing is that might be enough. I mean, no one has anything.
Yeah,
here.
no, that might be enough, but you know what I mean? If you had a really good player at the table, they would sense that weakness, and even with their nothing, they would try to take this pot away from them.
Well, He-Man's thinking about calling with the red king queen here, but he's not going to.
And Michael takes it down. And some can argue that, hey, he risked the minimum to win that pot. But just in terms of getting in a good habit, to me, I mean, I think you need to at least throw a good $60, $70 bet in there.
Right.
Oftentimes people will bet that amount when they have a monster or when they have nothing at all.
Button moves over here to seat 9. Seat 1. For some reason, I always get that confused. And we have a new dealer coming into the box.
Well, people don't realize that, obviously, in our production room, obviously, it's like a mirror, so everything's backwards for us.
Well, not really, but that's a nice cover-up.
Yeah, I was trying to cover it up for you. See if anybody would buy it. So I guess your picks. So let's see. We got Chicago, Washington, Pittsburgh, and New England.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
Taking the money lines in each one of those games. Raise here by seed 8 to 20. He's got ace-6 of clubs. Allen is going to call out of the small blind with 9-7 offsuit. Or is it 8-7? A little surprising for Allen. Heads up in the small blind, Dave.
I forgot Allen was even playing.
7-8 offsuit it is. Queen, queen 4. Jim's going to make a continuation bet. He's going to take it down.
One thing great about poker is obviously some nights we're live here, we're unedited, unscripted. Obviously some of our nights are really, really exciting. And then some nights obviously are a little slower. But the one thing that's great about poker is you can learn from every single. I mean, you look at a game like this and you go, you know, sometimes you're stuck in a game like this. And playing in a game like this is not necessarily a bad thing.
Well, how do you make the adjustment? I think that's the issue.
Right. I mean, you look at a game like this, and obviously you can't play the same way you might play in a Friday night game against Ed and Corporation Mike, or if you're playing against Phil Locke and Yoshi Nakano. You know, in a game like this, you can really almost be the table captain, can't you? Raising a lot more in late position, playing more hands in late position, stealing more pots. Be content with taking down $75 pots, $100 pots, rather than going for the big ones.
Two people have pocket fours in this hand, and Gus has got pocket queens.
30.
And he's going to make it 30 to go here.
Let me know what you guys think. That bad?
And I think, Gary was asking us what we thought, but he had 9 deuce there. I say fold.
We are heads up. Queens against fours, and Jim doesn't have any shot here unless he hits a straight, because the other fours are dead. And Gus checked. And these two are going at it again, Dave.
It is going to be tough for Jim to hit it straight.
Yeah, Jim is drawing dead. And look at this, Gus fills up. Jim was drawing dead after the flop.
So the queen probably didn't help him, huh?
Gus has checked again. And Jim's not buying it. Jim checks again. And the river here is a jack, and oh, man, you would just love it if you were Gus, if Jim had a jack here, but I don't think the hand was played out that manner.
Well, he's going to check, and I mean,
well, Jim's hand is totally worthless. He placed the board now. If I may say, counterfeit here on the river gets counterfeited.
Right, Jim obviously has jacks and fives with the queen.
He called, Dave. He called playing the board. He made the call on the river.
He can't beat king high, though.
No. He can't beat pocket sixes, pocket sevens, pocket eights, nines or tens, king or ace high.
No, I didn't flop.
I mean, what can he beat? I mean, well, he can't beat anything. What can he tie? What can he tie, like 10-9? Pocket deuces?
Any
Pocket
hand.
threes?
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
I mean, I was about to say, hey, kudos for Jim, though, not falling for the trap and just folding his hand away. But he throws away $40. Actually, he throws away $60 anyway.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, sometimes I'll even tell you, I mean, obviously I love playing with action players like Corporation Mike and Alan and players like that. But at the same time, sometimes I love playing in a game like this because to me it almost seems like, you know, I hate to say it, but sometimes it almost seems like guaranteed money. Yeah, I'm not going to win $2,000, but at the same time it seems like an easy $600 or $700, doesn't it?
$25 raise here by seat 1. King, queen, offsuit. Gus has got a king 10 suited on the button. He is dominated here. And he's been re-raising here a lot in position. He's just going to call. And if a king comes off here, well, look at this, though. He-Man doesn't have much left. Ace, deuce, 5.
Well, everybody's missed this one.
And did He-Man just check folded here, Dave? He-Man checked, Gus moved all in, and He-Man folded on an ace 5 deuce flop. Wow. As opposed to probably the way that it, you know, I guess it should have went the other way, huh?
You figure He-Man would be moving in and Gus folding.
I mean, at that point.
Well, usually the first person, no limit, is about who puts their money in the pot first.
Right.
More often than not, the person who puts their money in the pot first wins. And one thing kind of cool, we still have our Play for Free site. You can click on the tab to your left of the Live at the Bike, which says Win Money Now. Download the Bicycle Casino's Play for Free site. And there are daily free roll tournaments every day at 5 o'clock Pacific time. And if you get those promo bucks, I know about 3 weeks ago, there was a bounty on my head. And Hemp22 won $200 for knocking me out. And obviously, you and I will be in these free rolls with bounties on our head again in the future. So
that's right.
Check it out. Free money.
$20 raise here by seat 4.
Appreciate it.
Two plates.
Heads up. Ross against Jim.
Just get her, Gary. You're not-
Jack, Jack 10. Well, Ross has got the pair of 10s here. Jim checks.
Our table, but I did half the table and took her off.
And Ross is going to bet.
They didn't get here, too, did they?
And he's going to take it down there. And we have about, maybe 45 minutes left in the show. Which is interesting, Dave, how like somebody like a Corporation Mike just changes the nature of this table. You just add one spark.
Yeah, well, a lot of times that happens. Well, because what happens is one player affects them, it changes their game to kind of adapt to a guy like Corporation Mike, and then 2 other players are changing their game because this guy has to change his game.
Look at that, the Buddha. Limp here. Buttons in seat 5. And Gus is going to raise it here to 30. Gus has played pretty loose aggressive here so far, Dave. He's got King 6 offsuit.
25 more.
And here we go. We've got everybody folding. And Gus is going to take it down. There it is. So, I mean, Gus has been playing loose aggressive. I mean, isn't that the best way to play against a table like
Well, a
this?
table like this, yeah, I think so. Especially you really want to play in position. And if you get any real, if anybody makes a stand
There's our
against you,
lovely cocktail waitress, Tiffany. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
it's okay. Go ahead. Anytime.
Go ahead.
Anytime if somebody really stands their ground, like a player like Gary stands his ground and moves all in on you, you know you're beat. Throw it away. You know, be content with the small pots. Take a $40 pot here. Take a $60 pot here, and so forth. Just don't lose those $300 pots. Because if somebody at this table is willing to commit $300 or $400, they've got it.
Raise.
Seat 8 is going to raise here. 8 deuce offsuit.
45 more.
It's going to make it 45 to go. Again, out of the blind. He's done this a couple of times with absolutely nothing. And Carlos has got ace-queen here on the button. He did not raise. This guy has tried to pick his spots here and try to... And ace-queen's going to move all in. And it's only $5 more, but the 8 deuce is going to have to call. So we're going to see a race here
Well,
between
for $5, yeah.
ace-queen and 8 deuce. For about $100.
Well, hey, 8 deuces, the cards are live. I mean, we're looking maybe, 60-40 here? Maybe 64,
Here we go.
36.
Well, there's an ace. Turns to 7. That's it.
Yeah. Carlos takes
Well,
it down.
Jim showed it though, Dave. That might might not. He didn't have to show the 10-6 hand the other time. You might choose not to show it that time either. I mean, you can just muck your hand at that point, right?
Yeah.
You don't beat anything.
With 8 high, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind advertising once in a while, but you know what? Why give anybody free information?
Button moves over here to seat 7.
A little post here from Gray Dot on 2+2. Says he likes the advice we give. How long have you been playing poker for? How long have you been playing poker?
Well, I guess you would say.
I mean, a long
You mean
time. I mean, being a kid
seriously?
and stuff. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, really, really seriously, maybe. Boy, since I started in college, that's really when I first started getting into it. So how long ago was that? Started at Turning Stone in upstate New York, maybe 7 years, maybe.
right, 7 years. And obviously, you've taken a crash course. I mean, obviously, over the last couple of years, being a prop and working
Right.
on this show, you've seen thousands and thousands and thousands of hands.
25 more.
Get a raise here, 25 by He-Man, by Gus. Ace 7, and He-Man, he's
He-Man's
not even
gonna
going to call with pocket 7s.
Yeah, he lays down. And he obviously had Gus dominated there.
Hey, Gus is, he's adjusting to this type of table.
Well, that's what you have to do as a poker player. Got to be able to adapt and adjust.
I mean, if Gus was playing his normal game, would we ever see any flops? And I'll point somebody out that hasn't adjusted to the game, Dave, and that we're really familiar with. Alan, look at the difference.
Yeah. Alan's still playing the same exact game he always
Right,
plays.
right.
You know, and No Limit is all about, I mean, any poker game really is knowing your opponents and adapting accordingly. Now, it's interesting you say about, you know, obviously the last 2 years you've seen so many hands. You know, a lot of like the old timers who have played for 30, 40 years are kind of, you know, almost frustrated because it took them 30, 40 years to gain the experience that some of these internet players are getting in 3 years.
Right.
He had a big hand that time, so he
You know,
just threw it
Scott
away.
Fishman says, you know, he was multi-tabling. He's seeing six. He's getting 6 tables at the same time. The amount of hands he's seen is just phenomenal.
Got a bet here with top pair.
Yeah. Flop Queen Jack 5.
Queen 4 is going to bet, and he takes it down.
Give it to me.
Make 16 or lose 5. Which better?
You know, the other thing that's interesting, though,
You're up.
and especially in a game like this,
Yeah.
and I see it a lot in the 200 and the 3 to 5 game, more so than in the bigger games. And I'm not necessarily saying it's a really bad thing, but people will be, you know, pretty much reckless in just coming out and betting, say, lone top pair, like Queen Deuce,
Yeah.
on a board of like Queen 7-4, with like 4 or 5 people in there. Can you just sometimes call somebody at a table with absolutely nothing, hoping they just check it to you and just bet the turn? You know?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a good player, I mean, once in a while, to be honest with you, once in a while, if I'm in the big blind and everybody checks to me and I have, like, you know, Queen 6,
Right.
flop comes out, you know, I hit my top pair. I might take one shot at it, and if I get called once, I'm pretty much done with it.
No, he probably
Limped
raised.
around here. 6-way action.
I mean, obviously, that's playing the player rather than playing your own cards.
Ace, Deuce 4, Seat 8 limped in over there with Ace 8 suited. He's got top pair.
And nobody else has much of anything here, huh?
40s.
Seat 8's going to bet 40.
Now, if you find this exciting, hold your hat for tomorrow night.
That's
because
right.
Tomorrow night is whale night, folks. We have the same game, No Limit Hold'em, but this time we're going to play it with 50, 100 blinds.
Yep.
A couple of weeks ago, we had Phil Locke down here. You never know who's going to show up. Robert John Belande is a favorite. He comes down all the time. So who knows?
That's right. Last time we had the show, we had Phil Locke on the show.
So should be a lot of fun. 6 o'clock Pacific time.
And the other thing I want to bring up, and I never root for somebody to fail, Dave, but it's going to be interesting to see that show that's going to be on GSN called High Stakes Poker.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that show is a limit game. It's not cash game, no limit. If you really still want to come here, we're the only ones that offer no limit cash games.
Well, that's also not live.
Not live and edited
Right.
as well.
20s.
$20 raise here.
I mean, it's a once-a-week show, right? That is edited. It's basically another edited poker show, and there are a lot of those out there.
So we get a raise here, and Carlos is going to call with Ace-6 offsuit. Allen's in there with a suited connector. $60 pot, 3 ways. 780. Ooh, 888. Wow.
Yeah.
Get an overpair.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good flop for queens, huh?
He's going to bet.
40s.
And Allen's obviously going to fold his 4-5 of clubs.
You know, a lot of times I see people get really stubborn with ace high here, regardless of their kicker. And when you think about it, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Because you can't beat a bigger ace, right?
Yeah, for some reason they go, oh, come on, there's no way you have an 8.
Right.
No, there isn't, but you have ace-6.
And again, it will be really interesting to see if, you know, what kind of show that is going to be. If we do a better job than they do, and we have, you know,
Obviously,
1/100th of the budget that they do.
Yeah, obviously, when you're limited by budgetary restraints, and then obviously being live presents other problems.
Right.
Obviously, when, in post-production and when you can edit and so forth, and have a script, sometimes obviously your finished product might be
Well, the funniest thing is that,
different.
you know, I love it when people criticize us. But a lot of times when someone's giving us a hard time about our poker analysis, you got to understand that we're doing it on the fly, and I still think that we give the best analysis out of any poker show out there. And we're doing it on the fly. Sometimes I look back, Dave, and I'll look at it and be like, well, you know what? Now that I look at that hand,
Trip queens for 6-4.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Let's let this play out here. Let's see how C4 is going to play it here. Queen, queen, 7.
Now, seat 4 has not as much breathed on a pot. Now, this is one of those times where you can take a shot at it. You can always take shots at it.
He checks it.
But if somebody shows some strength, get away from it, especially a guy like Ross here in seat 4.
Alan's going to bet $10 here as a well, he's got a pair of 7s. And let's see how he's going to play it here. Seat 4. He's got trip queens, queen, queen, 7. He's just going to smooth call.
Look at him. Well, I'll just throw in the $10.
Not really a coordinated board.
Well, I mean, there's no draw there whatsoever. I mean, if you're Alan, there's no way. Yeah, now watch.
Turns a 5, and we're heads up. Queen, jack. And look at this. He's just going to bet now.
Yeah.
It's 30. And Alan's not stupid.
Alan folds it. It's an easy laydown.
And that's why, even sometimes on a board that's not that coordinated, you might, if he actually had thrown out $20 on the flop, he might have gotten a call from Alan.
He might have
made
I mean,
more
the problem
money.
is Ross hasn't breathed on a pot all night.
Right.
So the second he does, anybody
Right.
who's been watching the game at all is going to go, wait a second.
But anyways, getting back to the point about our poker analysis, I mean, we're doing it on the fly. Sometimes I'll go back and watch the archives, and as I think about the hand more and more, I think about it, well, this might have been able to be played this way. But, if when you're playing in the game, this really gives you the best sense of, live play, because you don't have the opportunity to go back. I mean, everyone thinks they should play a hand differently, once they go back and look at it in the past, right?
Right. Obviously, when you play a hand, you obviously have to make a read and a decision on the fly.
Right.
Obviously, when we're giving commentary, we're also making a read and a decision on the fly. But having said that, I will say something else.
20.
See, if you're on the button, you can almost always raise and take a shot at. Once again, Ross calls this.
Ace, 7, ace on the board.
Wow, and Ross is calling with king, queen?
Yeah, king, queen. Ace, 7, ace on the board. Gus has got 10, 7 offsuit.
Actually, Gus has got 10-6.
10, 6 offsuit.
He's got nothing, but
Call and a call.
3 plays.
who else is called?
Well, we got three-way action here. The turn's a 4. Seat 5 call with 10-3. Garrett.
What?
Wait a minute. Is he in there with 10-3? Check, and the river here is an 8.
He is in there with 10-3.
Is he trying to make a move here? I guess he was. No?
And Ross is going to win this pot, I think, if it gets checked down, right?
No, C5's going to come out and bet 50 here.
I assume he's making some sort of a move, right?
50s.
$25 side pawn.
That he has A7?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what just happened there on the table, but
Yeah, they
we're
made
not
a
going
little side
to.
bet, but I have no idea.
I've been telling him
Button moves over here to seat 4.
I get an ace every time and nothing. I thought I had ace 3.
Now, the one thing that's great about poker, I just wanted to point out, obviously, I mean, I really enjoy, I actually like when people either, when people give us criticism or people praise us either way, because the wonderful thing about poker is, you can look at the same exact hand and 10 good players will tell you 10 different ways to play it. So obviously when we present our ideas, it's just our 2 cents. And there are oftentimes you and I don't agree ourselves.
Right. Got about a half an hour left in the show.
One of the great things about poker is, I mean, you can never stop learning. It's always something that you can improve on.
Although I've been called many things, but never a donkey. Just at least not through commentating on this show before.
5 plays.
5-way action.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Arrogant. Obnoxious, yes.
King, queen, 6, couple of diamonds. Nobody's got a king.
Pocket 10's over there in seat 1 played it slow, limped in again on this table. But seat 4's got, he's got bottom 2 pair. It's Ross.
I just wonder how many people are.
And he might be on the button here, Dave. Yeah, he
he's
is
on
on
the
the
button. Let's see
button.
if he throws in a bet.
He's going to bet 20.
And I imagine everybody's going to fold this. I mean, even He-Man really should be an easy fold in a
What's
limped round
He-Man
pot.
looking to do? I mean,
Hit a
are you
10
really
and-
going to hit a 10 and then have somebody hit 2 pair?
Right, I mean, that's the only way you're going to make money on that pot is basically you hit your 10, the flop comes out queen 10-6. then you make some money on the pot. That's it. The best way to make money on a pot like that is to raise it up to $30,
Right.
get called by 4 people, and then bet them out
Right.
and win it.
Oh, yeah.
Butt moves over here to seat 5. And these guys are a bunch of talkers, too, at the table, aren't they?
Yeah, we really should return to do some table talk tonight.
Right.
You know what? I'm actually thinking of maybe I'll take the table talk version home with me if I have trouble sleeping tonight.
Gus raises here, ace rag, and he's going to take it down, as he has been all night long. And again, if it wasn't for him loosening up the game, we wouldn't be seeing any post-flop play, would we? Button moves over there to seat 6. Was it you that was saying you don't like this rule, Dave? Seat 6 had the button. He's not at the table. He didn't say deal him in, so they automatically move the button over.
Yeah, I mean,
to
I
seat 7.
personally think if you pay your small blind and you
Right.
pay your big blind,
Right.
you should be dealt in the entire round until your blinds come up again.
Right.
I mean, that's the way I would run it, but it's not my casino. And to be honest with you, I mean, no casino runs it really that
But
way.
why do they move the button over the small blind?
Because
now?
it can't be a nobody spot.
Well, why not? What difference
Well-
does it make? Then, because then the cutoff guy is basically, in essence, having it twice.
Then he has the button twice.
Yeah. Well, Queen.
Although it gives the guy in the
gives
small
the guy,
blind
guy
a
in
huge
small
advantage.
blind, right? Yeah.
Huge advantage.
Right. Queen 4-4.
I mean, he's blinding the button then.
Right.
That's one of the few times if I'm blinding the button, if I'm small blinding the button, I can throw in that one extra chip almost every time.
King Queen checked it. Again, I don't know why people are trying to play tricky. Queen 4-4 turns a 3 of spades,
Now George is picking up a spade draw. Do you think maybe he takes one off here?
and now He-Man's going to bet. Why wouldn't He-Man bet the flop there?
He wants to mix it up.
George is going to call. I'm surprised George didn't come out and bet the turn. River's an 8 and George has missed. And King Queen's going to take it down. I just never understood why that someone has to be occupied at the button. I mean, you know what I mean? You know what
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying?
guess it doesn't have to be. I mean, theoretically, though, if you put it in the empty spot, I mean, for all intents and purposes, the cutoff seat would then have the button.
Right, but isn't it giving the small blind basically 2 times the button?
No, because the next hand, the next hand, actually, the button would go to the next.
Oh, because
player.
it's that. Yeah, because it's his turn. I see what you mean. Yeah. So it's basically giving.
I mean,
guess,
somebody's got to get an advantage. I guess it's either going to be the guy in the cutoff or the guy in the small blinds.
Yeah.
So they're talking about the best fish that we have here. What's the best fish we have here?
Well, I eat the halibut. I like the salmon.
That got me so confused.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about him.
King Queen suited over there, seat 9. I would say it's George Georgian. Smoked.
Smoked, right? Yeah, okay.
25 more.
$25 here to go. Michael's going to call pocket 6s. Seat 8's going to call 6-4 off suit. So seat 9 raised it out in the small blind with King Queen suited. Got 3 callers. It's a $100 pot. Here we go. 10, 7, 9.
Another time where, one of the few times where I don't mind overcards here. George has got the King Queen of spades now. There's one spade on the board. So he's got backdoor spade draw. Plus he's got the gut shot. Plus he's got overcards.
90.
Well, Allen's going to raise here. $30 bet. Allen makes it 90 with King 10.
Alan, we haven't heard much from him at all.
Now,
Finally,
sometimes we talk about calling in position, but I don't think that's definitely one of the times to call.
Nah, too
in
many
that
dangerous
spot.
cards out
Yeah.
there. A 6 comes off, an 8 comes off, a jack comes off.
60 more.
Well, it's 60 more over there to George. And if he caught his king, he'd be in
I mean,
trouble.
to be honest with you, even 2 pairs isn't safe for Allen. I mean, 'cause that would
Yeah.
make the queen jack would obviously be a straight as well. And the only safe cards are the really low ones.
Well, he's going to call. He needs to get a jack or a queen. here
Yeah,
to
jack
improve
or
his
queen
hand.
here.
Turns a 4. Well, now he's picked up a flush
Yeah,
draw.
he's not going anywhere. You think this is a good time for a little blocker bet, isn't it?
Well, he's going to bet.
Well, that's a little blocker bet, isn't it?
Yeah, he bets 100 into a pot that's maybe 250. And Allen doesn't have that much left here. He's got about 150 left. It's about a $100 bet here. Or it's a $110 bet into a pot that was $290. Dave, it's a $400 pot, 110 to call. I did the math out in my head quickly. I don't know if Allen goes anywhere here now. I mean, doesn't that smell like a blocker bet?
It does. The only thing that's strange is it's a blocker bet when your opponent only has 150. You know, you're almost forcing your opponent to move all in or fold.
110 into a $290 pot.
I mean, I guess George. I mean, I like George's bet because he kind of went this way. He figured, well, I'm gonna call if the guy moves in anyway. I might as well move in myself, and maybe there's a little bit of fold equity there as well. Yeah.
Well, Allen's he's gonna put the rest in there.
And it would have been a great. Let's say we were playing unrestricted there. It would have been a great time for a nice blocker bet. You throw in a nice $100 bet,
It's only 40 more, and the guy's gonna call. And we're looking at about a $600 pot now.
and you need a jack, a queen, or a spade.
Yep. Jack, queen, or spade. Here we go to the river. River's a queen, and there it is. King, queen's gonna take it down.
And George gets there. Wow.
Yep.
The excitement never ends here at Live at the Bike, folks, and Allen goes broke.
And that's about the biggest pot that we've had tonight.
Yeah, it's about a $600 pot.
Yep. I like the shirt there that George is wearing.
Yeah?
Put the lucky chip in, he wasn't paying attention. I know.
Kind of the nice casual black. Kind of black on black.
I don't know where I've ever seen that. C2, Allen's going to buy for 500.
Yeah, I'm actually wearing blue. By the way.
Yeah.
This is a blue shirt. You got the. We gotta get rid of those black T-shirts.
You don't like these?
No, it's a nice T-shirt. But I mean, I don't know. Seeing something different. I think. Did you have a bunch of them from when you used to work at Miyagi's?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
There you go. So I know they're Miyagi's is a
Miyagi's and Sal
sushi
Yeah.
kind of a sushi
A
club.
sushi rock bar.
Sushi rock bar on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood. And I guess their dress is black pants and black shirt, right? Black T-shirts.
Just like Sal Ranch's black shirt and jeans
There you go.
with some sort of headwear.
We got spades represented here. Now, seat 3 has ace deuce of spades, and seat 5 has king 5 of spades.
Well, raise here, I believe it was by Jim with king jack. Michael had limped in with queen jack suited.
Gary's not going to play with king 5 suited there.
And Jim is going to take it down there.
Well, Michael didn't call with queen jack suited, huh?
That was 45 more.
No,
What is it, 40
it's
more?
not a bad laydown.
He's dominated.
Yeah.
But moves over here to seat 1.
Got about 20 minutes left in our show tonight, folks. Once again, you can catch us tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Pacific time for our whale night. Thursday night is our traditional $500 buy-in no-limit game. The blinds are 5 and 10 for that game. And then Friday night, obviously, another big game. We have a 10-20 no-limit game.
I smell a raise and a re-raise here, Dave. Seat
You think
8's got pocket 8s. He's just going to raise. Seat 1, He-Man's got aces. And he's probably going to just move all in. Let's see what happens here.
Well, you got the first one right.
I mean, He-Man's got, what, 100 there?
Oh, he's got almost nothing there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think. What's the point of? Yeah, he's gonna move all in. Good
Boy,
call by you.
Boy, am I good, huh?
Yeah, you're amazing. Really. Uncanny.
And pocket 8s is going to call, obviously. I mean, how much more is it left? Well, he's all in for 70, so it means it's only... Well, it's 70 more. So basically, the pot
Well, if you put
would
your
be
opponent
140, and you'd call 7. You're getting 2 to 1.
if you put your opponent on a range of hands, if you think
Yeah.
there's a chance your opponent might have ace, king, ace, queen, you know, you can make this call. But if you think your opponent has overcards, then you don't want to call.
Over pair.
Overpair, thank
Yeah.
you.
King, Jack, 9 here. Turns a 4. River's a Jack, and there it is.
Aces win. He-Man takes it down. About a $200 pot, right?
Well, I mean, would you lay that down, getting 2 to 1? I guess if you saw He-Man and he never re-raised with just overcards, right?
Yeah, I mean, there are some players
it's-
that don't re-raise with ace, king, and ace, queen.
Yeah.
There are some players that only re-raise with big pocket pairs. And if you raise with 7s or 8s and they re-raise you, hey, you know you're beat. And if there's no implied odds of hitting your set, well, why am I calling?
Button moves over here to seat 2. Alan.
I mean, like, I'll give you an example. Dr. Beebe, who frequents our Thursday and Friday night games, rarely have I ever seen Dr. Beebe re-raise pre-flop with just big cards, right?
Right.
And if for some reason Dr. Beebe was all in, what would I call it?
We don't see Dr. Beebe re-raise with queens
Exactly.
sometimes.
So if he's re-raising,
Yeah.
you know, if he has a lot
Yeah.
of money, I might call him with deuces,
Right.
hoping to hit my set and get a lot of implied odds. But
10, 6, 7 here, all spades.
and nobody has a spade. Amazing. Nobody has a spade here. A lot of people have clubs, but nobody has a spade.
20.
And the best hand right now is seat 2 is Allen. He's got Jack 10 of clubs, and I think he's going to bet it.
Yeah, he bet 20 in position.
I can't imagine anybody calling this.
Email here from Matt Nasiska. And again, to give some people some background, I went to Syracuse University in upstate New York, and there's an Indian casino called Turning Stone down the road about 30 miles from Verona, New York. And that's kind of where I learned how to play live poker. So he says, I like the advice. You guys seem knowledgeable about how to beat the games, which brings me to my question about your comment on Turning Stone. What games did you play there to pull the biggest profit? Well, first of all, I remember Turning Stone when it didn't have a poker room.
Yeah. I was there when it did not have. I was
Yeah.
actually there when it didn't even have craps tables.
Yeah, and I was playing mainly 3-6, which was pretty much the only game that it had. I never remember any No Limit games there. Remember, No Limit's a new thing.
Yeah,
I was playing
relatively
there
new.
between 1997 and 2000.
Yeah, and No
You know.
Limit obviously really came about after
Right.
the World Poker Tour. Kind of took
right.
the world by storm.
Right.
So you're
No,
playing 3-6 limit hold'em,
Yeah, 3-6 or 2-4.
beating the game for a couple $1,000s a day.
Right.
What was your hourly rate? $600, $700? Yeah.
100 big bets an hour.
Yeah.
Much like Super Mario Esquera.
Exactly.
Yeah, 8 deuce here on the flop.
Uh,
Look at this. Jim and Gus both have top pair here. It's going to be a little interesting one.
Well, these two players have been at each other all day, and Jim's got the best of Gus here.
$30 bet here by Jim, and let's see what Gus is going to do.
Now the thing is, with two deuces out there, you know, how much money are these guys really going to lose?
Gus makes it 75. Kim has the best hand. Jim has the best hand, excuse me. And he's going to call. And the pot is going to be about 170 now.
Yep.
Turns a 9.
Changes nothing.
George is out of the hand.
100.
And Jim's going to come out and bet again.
It's kind of a little bit of a blocker bet.
Or he's trying to not give Gus a free card here.
Either
if
or.
Gus is on a heart draw.
Either or, exactly.
So we've seen that call and then bet in, like call the flop and then bet in early position a couple times from this guy.
Yeah, it's
tonight.
more effective in no limit than it is in limit hold'em.
Right.
Um,
Pot's now about 260. It's 100 for Gus to call.
and it really puts Gus to a test here. I mean, Gus actually has the worst hand, but what can Gus beat now?
But again, remember, Jim has shown down a lot of crap.
Yeah, he has.
So and Gus is not going to get involved with it. And Jim's going to take it down.
Take it down. Nice play by Jim there. Doesn't want to give the free card. Thinks his hand is the best one.
Do you remember Turning Stone when they didn't even have craps tables, huh? I don't even remember that.
Yeah,
Was
when-
that
when
back, when did it open? It opened in 95, 94? Like
I
that?
think it opened in 92.
Well, I always forget that you're like 10 years older than me, so.
I'm actually like 22 years old. I just look really good. I think it opened, I want to say Turning Stone opened in like 92 or 93. First time I was ever there was 94, I want to say. And I remember driving there and playing blackjack and roulette, just for fun. They had no
Right.
poker there at that point.
15.
In the multi-games, you know how they didn't have slot machines? They had those stupid multi-games with the cards.
I don't even remember that.
They don't. They didn't. Some states they don't allow money on the tables, or you can't use money in a slot machine. So they put money on this card,
Oh,
and then
okay.
it's like all electronic,
That's
card
cool.
games and slot machines.
Pocket nines from Michael.
He brought it
SP
in-
Surfing on 2+2.
He brought it in for $15.
$15. Now, I guess that's a little pot sweetener, if anything, right?
It's gonna get called here in 4 spots, so it's a $60 pot. All hearts here.
Yeah, and once again, and this is time. Well, actually,
C5's got the ace of hearts.
yeah, Gary's got the ace of hearts. Nobody has a queen.
And George is gonna make a total bluff here with the ace-3 of diamonds. He bets 25. Gary's gonna call.
Just call. Wow.
And if Gary misses here, I mean, is George going to bet the guy off of the draw?
Well, that's sometimes the danger of betting when there's a draw out there. You don't know, does my opponent have a queen or does my opponent have the ace of hearts or the king of hearts?
Turns a 4, and it's going to go check, check. And if everyone misses, it's going to get chopped up. But the river's an ace. Chop it up. And oh my God, the guy in seat 9 bet that flop with ace-3 of diamonds? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. They love to, people love to put the police out there. It's like,
Right.
I can't believe you actually mixed up your play. What's wrong with you? I actually
It
made
was
up-
funny, Dave. I remember, and I don't know if you noticed this. I think this was last week, towards the tail end of last week. We were playing either 20-40 or 30-60, and there was
Yeah.
a bunch of propped up game. And a guy had raised on the button, and you 3-bet in the small blind with ace-6 offsuit. And this tight prop next to me said, "You just see what he did? He 3-bet in the small blind with ace-6 offsuit." You can imagine who that was, the tight
Sean
prop.
Sean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it's like the, the hand, the pre-flop hand selection police coming at you.
Right, right. C5's got an ace-king here. Gus is going to bring it in.
I love giving the impression off that, I'm a kind of a wild guy. I'm gambling. I don't really care about money.
I knew exactly what you're out.
Well, Gary just smooth calls.
It is.
And we're heads up here. And look at this. Gus has outflopped him. He's got top pair.
Is Gary with ace king going to make a move or not?
Well, is Gus going to bet?
Didn't help me with that.
He raised pre-flop. Gary just called.
The better question is, Gus going to ask him out for a date? I mean, what is he doing here?
That's 25. 30, actually, to be precise. And Gary's going to call. What is this, a limit game?
Yeah,
Here we
well,
go
I
to the
mean-
turn. Turn's a deuce. Well, maybe he's going to see if Gus is going to
Gary's
fire
got more
again.
outs now. I mean, Gary's got an ace, a 5, a king.
And it goes check, check. And the river's an 8. And now Gus makes trip 8s. And Gary might call here again, right?
I mean, a lot of players would. Problem is, there's no draw. I mean, what draw was out there on the flop that didn't get there?
And Gus is going to bet 45.
You know what I mean? You got to start putting you when you're playing no limit. You really got to put your opponent on a hand. Now Gus bets the flop. Okay, what do you put him on?
Well, he could have been making a continuation bet with
King Jack.
King Jack, King 10, any 2 cards. He checked the turn, you checked behind him, and now he's trying to buy it on the river, and he's not betting that much. He's betting 45.
And once again, somebody betting the river here. He's either probably on a bluff or he's probably got a big hand. And in this case, he's got trip 8s. So he's betting it for value.
What a decision.
What would Pete Carroll do? Come on, go for it.
Well, if he was in the NFL, he would lose. You know that, especially as a head coach.
So bitter, this guy is. Man, if somebody ever failed for the New England Patriots, you just take
Ship
it to
that
your-
douchebag
take it to-
Parcells out of there.
Take it to your grave, man.
Bledsoe, he's no good.
Gary's really tormented here. He's trying to
I
think-
got to be honest with
He
you.
said, I think he said, I have a feeling. I
might-
just got a feeling that you have nothing. That was saying, I think I have a feeling you
Dave,
got
I don't
nothing.
really
And
have
he's
a
called.
Dave, I don't have a problem with that call. I mean,
I have a problem with the call only the way they played the hand.
you think so? Oh, well, no, I have a problem with the way he played the hand. But because he checked on the turn, he's trying to, Gus could be betting on the river with nothing. And your
he
ace-king
never-
beats any other smaller nothing.
I mean, he never bet. He never bet.
I
his
said
ace.
I had a problem with the way that he played the hand, but I'm saying if he played the hand in that manner, doesn't it put him in a tough spot there on the river?
No, because once you play the hand that way, you basically give it
Once
up
you play the hand like a kind of like a pussy, like
give-
Kathy Liebert said, you
Exactly. Kathy Liebert said, she goes, once I basically give up on the hand and I give it away, I don't want to lose a big pot. I don't want to lose any more money on that, And that was basically what he did. He check called. Well, actually, he just called the flop. Then he checked the turn, and then he just calls the river. You know what I mean? If you think the guy has nothing, well, I understand inducing the bluff, but you got to put some money in there at some point. Find out where you're at. Why not throw a $75 bet in there on the turn? Maybe Gus throws,
I
maybe
agree
Gus
with
throws
you.
the hand away, and if Gus doesn't throw the hand away, well, then you probably figure Gus might have something.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
but at that point, Gus bet about maybe a third of the size of the pot on the river, and it's just like, can my ace-king beat maybe
Ace-queen.
this guy 1 out of 3 times?
Yeah,
But you're right, the whole hand went down kind of strangely. Top set here for George in seat 9, and he's going to check it.
Surprise, surprise.
And I think Gus was the pre-flop raiser, so he's probably going to bet, make a continuation.
Now, Gus
bet.
does have the ace of clubs, making his hand a little more powerful. Jim has second pair here, and he might take one off. He also has backdoor spade draws. He might even raise this.
He's going to call.
And do you just call for George, or do you
with
make a move here?
With 2 people in here.
And 2 clubs out there, you can't really, can you?
A little bit coordinated. Well, he hasn't said anything.
If he hasn't said anything, it's really...
It's going to be... Oh, now he says... Can somebody call a string raise on him, Dave? Because that's what I was going to say. Because he put the chips in. I'm like, well, he hasn't said anything. He has to call now, right? But now he says raise.
Yeah, I would imagine that if somebody really wanted to, they could have called it on him.
It's going to make it 200 here.
I think you're right there.
Gus is doing a little acting job here.
Yeah, Gus was up to about $1,000 early, but he's down to about $670 now. And Jim obviously is going to lay it down as well, and George takes it down.
Well, can you possibly overdo that style? What we were talking about, trying to beat this game with that style of...
Oh, of course you can.
You really can overdo it. You just lost that hand with ace-king, so, that's not necessarily overdoing it. He has brought in some hands with rags, but he has done it mostly in positions. So.
Yeah, he lost a couple unfortunate hands where he had queen, he had queen 8 and Jim had king 8. He had, one time he had top pair with the queen. He actually read Jim well, and Jim picked up the second pair on the turn. Now back to that ace-king call by Gary. I can't fault the guy for calling him, obviously, on that river. So, I even said, the way Gus bet that, he's either got an 8 or a set, which would make him a full house, and or nothing at all. So, and he's only got to be right 1 out of 3 times.
I'm surprised Gus checked the turn, Dave. That really was giving a free card off, because we saw the guy's not going to bet if he was intending to check raise. Was he scared? Was he beat on the turn?
Well, maybe he thinks that he's behind like pocket 10s and overpair.
5-way action. And the guy just called the flop with rags. 8-8 deuce here, limped around, turns a queen.
It's hard to figure out some of these players sometimes.
Ross has got a pair of queens in seat 4. Now he's going to bet 20.
And he'll take it down.
Yep.
Pretty ABC there.
Seat 9's going to call. He's got king 9. Gets checked, and Ross is going to bet here again.
He called with king 9?
Yeah, I thought he was going to make a move there, but...
Well, he had a...
pair draw.
Yeah. There you go.
Butt moves over there to seat 8. Got about 5 or 10 minutes left here. Gus has got ace-queen in seat 3. make it 25 to go.
You only have one move in that elbow? It's 25 or 30? What's the point of living? Not how far the range is?
And I don't know if he's going to get any callers.
Yeah,
He's gonna
Gus
take it
raises
down.
it up with ace queen here.
It's funny, some of the people on 2+2 were talking about Miyagi's and making references to Karate Kid. You know, I actually saw Karate Kid 1 a couple of weeks back. I was just flipping through, and it was on, like, TNT or something. And some of the stuff in that movie is just absolutely hilarious. Just classic 80s. Like, you know, at the end of the movie, after, what was the name of that, the dojo that, you know, yeah, Cobra Kai. After, like, the sensei ordered Bobby to injure Daniel by kneeing him in the knee, by elbowing him in the knee. At, like, on the final match, you know, the sensei's, like, telling Danny, finish him! Like almost like kill him at the end. You know, this is classic, like, 80s stuff, and, it's just, and then the little kid from the outside in the ring from Cobra Kai saying, put him in a body bag, Johnny. Yeah.
I love that. It's one of the best lines of all time. One of the great lines. Really a good movie, I gotta tell you.
Yeah. Good soundtrack, too.
Elizabeth
Man.
Shue.
Yeah. $45 raise here by seat 7. Actually, I guess it must have been 25. It was Michael. I'll get confirmation on that pre-flop raise, but the button's got ace-jack, and he's hit top pair.
Yeah. Out flops ace-queen Michael there. Michael's going to make a continuation bet and see if he can take it away.
That's
now,
30.
Pretty ugly flop for ace-queen of spades. This is one of those times where overcards mean nothing.
Button's going to raise. Raises to 100.
And this is going to be over. Now, it was funny, you know, obviously the Karate Kid was living in Reseda. They had moved out from New Jersey to Reseda, and Reseda was supposed to be some sort of a dump. So when I moved out to L.A., I was kind of wondering, hey, where's Reseda? I wanted to find out. And I actually lived in Tarzana for a little while, which was right next to Reseda.
Right.
So.
Was it a dump, Reseda?
Reseda's, I don't want to say a dump. I mean, it's
Mo is from
not
Tarzana.
as nice as not as nice as Beverly Hills, say.
Well, nothing. Mo is from Tarzana, I think.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay. Originally born in Tarzana?
No, I mean, he lives there now. But moves over here to
Tarzana's
seat
pretty
9.
cool. I mean, kind of a quiet, you know, suburban area.
He walks back into the house, Dave, like one of the first scenes of the movie with the sunglasses on. At night.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Trying to hide his big black eye. Seat 9 raises here. Ace Jack offsuit.
I'm just beating you to the punch, that's all. I'm going to get the 20 in there no matter
Actually,
what.
did you like Elizabeth Shue then? I mean, she was cute, but she was a little chunky then, wasn't she?
Oh, I thought she was pretty hot.
No, she's hot, but I'm saying, I mean, she was a little chunky girl. She wasn't like, you know, that like the girls now that are all like, you know,
super skinny.
82 pounds.
Gus has got a top 2 pair here, and somebody's come out and bet 25. I think it's seat 9 with overcards, and let's see how Gus is going to play top 2 pair.
We really should get a Ray mic for everybody at home to listen to.
That's
Some
our
of the
cameraman,
stuff,
right?
Our cameraman obviously we can
Yeah.
hear what he says, and some of the stuff he says is absolutely hilarious.
Daniel's son had dressed up as a shower at the Halloween party.
Great costume.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, like stereotypical, all the villains were dressed in black and skeletons.
Right.
That was actually a pretty cool costume.
Gus raises.
I got to check and see if I did.
Now, George can't call here, can he? Well, it's a mini raise, and he's going to call, Dave, and he needs some sort of running combination.
Yeah, this is
to
one of
win.
those times where overcards are not.
Uh-oh, and he hits the jack.
And this is one of those times where overcards you don't really want to hit it because you don't know where you're at. I mean, does your opponent have 3-5? You could be drawing dead completely.
Well, the pot is about, I want to say, about $125.
Yeah, and what if your
Gus is going to bet
and
90.
even if your opponent actually hits, you know, what if your opponent is betting, say, you know, overcards and a heart draw?
Gus bets 90, and George is going to check raise here.
Uh-oh.
And now if you're Gus, you put a little bit to the test.
Wow.
He bet, Gus raised.
How are you put to the test? What are you putting your opponent on here?
3-5, possibly.
I mean, that's the only thing you're really scared of, right? I mean, that or
Yeah.
pocket deuces, I guess.
Well, a set also.
Pocket deuces.
And Gus moves all in. Gus moves all in over the top.
Wow, for another $500.
And look at this, George calls, and this pot's going to be over $1,000.
We're looking at about a $1,300 pot right here.
Oh, my. He called like crazy, and the river's a 6, and Gus fills up.
Wow, and I was going to say he needs the board
Wow.
to pair, or he needs to hit an ace or a jack, but not the 6 pairing.
I
obviously.
mean, he check raised Gus 200, and Gus moved all in.
And he called him with just top pair ace
bang
kicker.
with ace jack, and like you said, $1,200 to $1,300 pot there.
And that's a lesson why you don't call with overcards, and you certainly don't want to go broke with overcards there. I
Put
mean,
it this
look
way:
at that.
if I get check raised to 200 and I move all in, and the guy calls me, I don't think 6-4 is good,
No.
right?
You don't
I
think-
hate that call,
Well, you don't think you can get called by a worse hand than
Right.
a pair.
right?
Amazing. And just like that, that's about a $1,300 pot that Gus takes down.
Talk about that. Talk about what we, reversed implied odds, right? When he made that call on the flop, he had incredible reversed implied odds, and he got killed.
That's the exact. That should be in the definition, like a poker dictionary.
Right.
That should be in there for reverse implied odds.
And wow,
And he picked up some outs, obviously. Once he caught his jack, obviously any jack, any ace, or any deuce would have won the pot for him.
this is going to be the last hand of the night here. Button's going to move over to seat 2, and Gus there, he just moves up from what he started off at 800 for the night, and he's well over 2,000 now. Well, no, he won about maybe
I want to say
700.
about 13, about 1,400 right
Okay.
now. Still, though, obviously the big winner for the night.
And Michael's going to end the night here. He's got pocket kings in seat 7.
Well, there we go. Our fellow 2+2er. See if he can finish it off in grand fashion.
And he's going to bring it in for 50 now. He's been usually raising to 20 or 25.
Yeah, you notice how his raises change based on what he has. You know, with Queen 10 of diamonds, he raises to $15, but with kings, he makes it 50.
Right.
Obviously, any good player could pick up on that.
And we're not going to see a flop, and that's going to do it for us.
Well, we get the best hand of the night.
Yeah.
We save the best for last, I guess.
Absolutely. And so, another night down.
Another night down.
300 to 500, no limit hold'em. Join us tomorrow night, where you never know who's going to pop up. The likes of Tim Fan, Toto Leonidas,
Tuan
Lee, maybe Phil Locke, some of the regulars on Wednesday nights. 5,100, no limit hold'em. So for everyone here in the booth and for Dave Tuckman, I'm Bart Hanson. Good night, everybody, from Live at the Bike.
It's here. It's big. And it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the Bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.